Just what on earth is Gazoo Racing? Gazoo Racing is a spirit. The spirit of pushing one's limits. It's more than just a badge, a symbol, or a poster on a wall. Gazoo Racing is Kaizen of competitiveness. It's the rubber hitting the road again and again and again. Fine-tuned on the world's most demanding racetracks. Powered not just by all forms of energy, but also by our passion to accelerate, exhilarate, elevate the Toyota mandate of making ever better cars. Moving not just people, but the human spirit forward. This is our spirit. This is Gazoo Racing.
Toyota. Move your world.
Ready, team. We have 5 and counting. If we don't make it, everything goes boom.
Package on the move.
Release the beast.
ETA 100.
Copy.
Standing by. Ready to receive. Package acquired. Inbound. 1 click.
Watch out!
That was a close call.
3 minutes target. Let's burn! Beyond you in 5. It's going to be too close.
It's not over yet.
Clock ticking. Punching.
Package received.
Whoa, this thing's fast.
Target in sight. The beasts are here. 5, 4.
Now! Nice work, guys.
I'm gonna need some new tires.
Toyota tires.
some beautiful skies. Hari yang cantik untuk kita berlomba. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to go racing. Selamat datang Toyota Gazoo Racing fans ke live streaming session kita di Facebook dan juga YouTube. Dan pada pukul 8.30 pagi ini kita dah bersedia untuk musim yang ke-6 Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival. The Vios Challenge muncul kembali dengan 4 klasifikasi daripada Super Sporting Class, Rookie Class dan juga tidak lupakan artis-artis TGR family kita di Promotional Class kembali ke Sepang International Circuit. Let's go racing. Dan pada musim yang ke-6 ini, wow, pelbagai perubahan yang dilakukan. Sabar. Nazrul Rahman akan bersama anda semua sepanjang musim yang ke-6 ini, insya-Allah. Dan untuk musim yang ke-6 ini, race day 1 is today. Kita bakal menyaksikan pelumba-pelumba kita menjalani qualifying rounds mereka atau sesi kelayakan untuk mereka menentukan kedudukan mereka di dalam grid untuk race 1. That is round 1. Ada 3 round kesemuanya untuk musim yang ke-6 ini, insya-Allah. Jadi terus bersama-sama kita dan kita saksi dan sokong drivers kegemaran anda. Kalau kita cakap dekat suasana dekat Sepang International Circuit sini, dia tak sama macam musim yang kelima finali kita pada tahun lepas. Kerana kali ini kita buka kepada super fan saja, by invitation. Buat masa ini jangan risau, jangan khawatir, jangan gundah gulana. Insya-Allah ini baru saja warm up. Bak kata nenek moyang kita, let dulu. Jadi round 2 dan round 3. Insya-Allah kalau ada rezeki kita buka kepada semua fans di luar sana. What can we expect for race day 1 today and qualifying rounds? If we're ready from the studio, let's take a look at what we can expect. Pukul 9 pagi is the official qualifying rounds untuk rookie class dan kita teruskan dengan 3 kelas yang lain. Okey. Jadi lepas official qualifying round kita akan mulakan race 1 pada pukul 2.30 petang nanti. Dari tengah-tengah tu kita ada break seketika. Kita saksikan persembahan istimewa daripada TGR family member kita, Nabila Razali. Ada kejutan juga. Mungkin ada wajah-wajah yang anda suka, anda dah biasa lihat mereka berlumba di Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival ini, tapi ada mungkin ada wajah-wajah yang baru. Siapakah mereka? Sabar, saksikan saja siaran langsung kita, live streaming. Sit back, relax and enjoy yourself for the qualifying rounds. Baiklah, sekarang on stage saya ingin menjemput promotional class kita. Kita cerita pasal kelas 4 klasifikasi kan? Jadi untuk promotional class kita, apa lagi? Kita nak perkenalkan kepada anda semua barisan drivers kita for promotional class. Siapa yang bakal join TGR family kita di sini? Jadi kita nak menjemput artis-artis kita on stage. Silakan. Mereka sedang berbaris sekarang. Tak ada apa lagi kita nak tunjukkan. Kita nak tunjukkan drivers kita. Terus dapat pelukan daripada defending champion kita, Syukriya. Allah.
Nanti marah Azizan.
Cewa. Kita ada wajah-wajah baru. Kita ada Ezrin Lloyd di sini. Ain Edrus, welcome back. Muka-muka baru. Kita ada Afifah pun ada di sini. Encik Hefni. Wah, okey. Encik Akil dan kita ada Ahrudin. Jauh sangat pula. Dalam macam tu je. Sekarang lah jauh malu Okey, di sini kita nak kenalkan yang lama dan yang baru. Smiling, I like it. Silakan. Okey, ini dah dia barisan TGR family yang dah bersama kita 2 musim, 3 musim dan juga 4 musim. Dan awak kat sini. Ain kat sini. Kita nak asingkan yang veteran versus the newbies. Okey. Jadi kita nak mulakan. Mungkin kita nak bercerita dengan Syukriya. Kalau boleh kita nak bawa mikrofon satu kalau kita bagi mikrofon dekat artis ni, hari race dah habis tapi mereka masih berceloteh. Jangan dia. Awak pun saya takut nak bagi mikrofon, okey? Dengan suara Ain Edrus yang gagah. Okey, kita nak tanya kepada defending champion Syukri Yahya dan juga lawan ketatnya Zizan Razak. Okey, kita switch sekejap. Sini. Okey, kepada Ubis. Okey, mungkin anda pasang telinga sebab inilah perangai yang kita tak mahu on track. Okey. Oh, gelak-gelak. Okey, kita cerita sikit tentang finale kita season 5 tahun lepas. Lots of thrills and spills. Fans semua memang wow, what a awesome race. Tapi race yang awesome untuk Syukri dan mungkin tidak begitu memberangsangkan untuk Zizan. Okey, jadi nak tanya kepada Syukri, apakah ekspektasi anda tahun ini, musim yang ke-6? Kejap. Kau nak jawab kan? Nak jawab?
Okey, senang je. Tahun ni saya rasa akan ada pergaduhan dari dorang. Kita perlukan benda tu bagi ada langgar-langgar sikit. Betul.
God, you guys, no, it's clean race, okay? Sportsmanship. Tapi bila ada atas track tu kan Syukri, kadang-kadang darah tu panas kan? Tak. Okey, kita switch. Kejap. Okey, ni darah panas ni korang semua kena pantau, okey? Abang darah panas.
Saya.
Apa terjadi finale kita?
Finale sebenarnya semua driver profesional. Macam mana saya tak panas? Kena hasut je macam ni. Macam mana saya tak panas?
Tak ada. Kita semua tahu Abang Long Fadil kita memang berdarah panas. Jadi tahun ini macam mana?
Saya berdarah amfibia.
Sejak panas sejak sejuk apa?
Darah sejuk. Memang darah sejuk. Saya dua alam. Okey. So maksudnya kan darah air boleh. Okey. So untuk last year pada saya ia adalah satu experience yang cukup luar biasa lah kan.
Alright. Cik. Korang tepuk je lu.
So this year memang kata game baru.
Eh?
Kau boleh kita lupakan yang lama.
Okey.
Buku baru. So kalau ada apa benda tak puas hati kita luahkan di sini.
Okey. Syukri, luahkan di sini.
Saya harap untuk season kali ini Abang Zizan lebih banyak bersabar.
Okey.
Sebab semalam saya tengok.
Tengok provoke. Nampak? Provoke nampak?
Ini provokasi ni semua kena
Saya sampai race tahun lepas saya pakai gear free tau. Tapi dia provoke macam ni terus saya masuk gear.
Terus masuk gear.
Saya harap abang banyak bersabar.
Okey, saya duduk tengah balik.
Sebab ada ke ni? Macam tak ada je.
Ada. Dia masuk broadcast.
Sebab tahun ni semalam diorang praktis. Saya tengok yang baru-baru.
Okey.
Banyak.
Itulah I nak pergi kat sini lepas ni. Sabar. Diorang ni semua ingat donkey.
Sebab maknanya saya bukan marking lagi lah.
Okey. Sekarang ni kan nak minta satu mic bagi dekat Akhirin. Sebab Akhirin merupakan betul driver yang agak baru juga. Tapi dalam 2 musim ni dia dapat tempat yang ketiga. Woman of Steel.
Thank you.
So tahun ini apakah strategi anda untuk menumpaskan 2 ekor kat sini?
Sebenarnya semalam saya ada teks dengan Bincang dengan
Azizan. Jom. So, apa cerita?
Tak masalah kita dah buat grup kan. Tapi dalam grup tu kita berdua.
Okey. Ya, aku cakap korang pegang mic ni, jangan bagi sisa lagi. Cerita.
Kita ada bincang kita punya taktik lah.
Same taktik eh. Taktik dia adalah untuk berikan mereka menghancurkan diri masing-masing.
Tak, taktik
Ada. Tengok, air dia tadi dia diam.
Masalahnya you bincang dengan Ayu cerita kat ramai-ramai ni kenapa? Bocorlah rahsia kita.
Tak ada match fixing kat sini, okey? Newbies jangan dengar cakap mereka. Alright. Ain pula kita nak tanya. So Ain sebagai orang kata veteran juga kiranya. Kita ada pejabat-pejabat baru Ain. Kita ada pejabat-pejabat baru kat sini. Antara pejabat-pejabat baru anda rasa mana satu yang paling memberi anda lawan yang kena?
Dekat pejabat baru pun ada darah panas juga.
Oh, ya ke? Darah panas juga? Saya tengok. Okey. Kita tengok tu dia alihkan yang cantik-cantik. Ini dia antara rookies kita yang terbaru, Ezrin Loy. Pengacara. Dan juga anda ni sebenarnya seorang rider. Tahu tak dia dekat elite punya timing hebat untuk 230cc. Okey. Tapi cerita dia 2 roda lawan 4 roda memang lain cerita. What do you think? Lain. What do you think your chances are?
Macam yang Abang cakap tadi. Masa dekat elite, I am more experienced in 2 wheels.
2 wheels, eh?
2 wheels.
Dual roda.
Saya rasa speechless lah sebab saya dicop sebagai darah panas.
Itulah dia tiba-tiba.
Saya kat sana tadi macam ni je bang.
Wah, itu dia nak menyejukkan hati kan. Jangan biarkan provokasi mereka sampai ke hati.
Itu semua provokasi.
Okay, so Ezrin,
experience untuk Toyota Gazoo Racing memang fresh lah untuk saya sebab
Tak payah nak ulang.
jangan dengar. Diorang memang pandai hackle.
Macam mana dia nak cakap?
Okay.
Dia nak bagi mana?
Sekarang ekspektasi lah. Ekspektasi untuk musim mereka pertama.
To keep it.
To keep up with the veteran.
Nash.
Ya Allah, susah lah nak cakap.
Kalau nak tahu siapa paling laju di antara diorang ni, Rin paling laju.
Woi.
Tak percaya? Tali kasut pun tak sempat ikat. Laju sangat.
Dia laju sangat.
Expectation saya untuk improve
dua-dua laju.
ada segi free practice, official free practice, qualifying and the race lah.
Alright.
InsyaAllah to more coming races.
Dengar tu yang lain semua dah kecut dah dalam macam ni sebab dia cakap pasal qualifying race timing. Okey, sekarang kita pindah kepada Rin pula. Okey, Rin Rahim silakan. Kita pindah sikit. Pelakon lebih dari 10 tahun sekarang dah jadi usahawan dengan produknya sendiri. Alamak. Piwit. Itulah rahsia kulit dia yang mulus. Kau ni pun satu. Jadi sekarang ni nak mencuba satu yang baru. Apakah dorongan Rin untuk cuba berlumba pula?
Dorongan Rin adalah tengok senior-senior punya perangai lah.
Jangan ikut.
Kena ikut. Dia adalah contoh yang baik. Kita kena ikut yang tua-tua.
Wah,
Yang
dengar tu.
veteran.
Kena ikut yang tua-tua.
Tua-tua.
I didn't say. She said. Abang.
Pemenang siap-siap supaya akan cucur baik.
Tu dia. Praktis dia. Rin, tunjukkan kamera sekarang. Muka pemenang macam mana? Muka pemenang. Itu dia muka pemenang dia.
Yes, kita dah ada taktik.
Cerita apa strategi?
Orang kamera akan dekat kita orang je. Nampak macam busy je. Lepasin saya.
Oh, dia macam tu
Tapi
Minta maaf. Ini bukan set filem di mana director kata kau depan, lepas tu kau belakang. No.
yes, nampak best tapi kita nanti dah ending kita kat belakang sekali dua-dua.
Okey.
Sekarang siapa? Dah tahu best friend dia. Mr. Ravin.
Oh.
Tak nak kena.
Pandai
Tak nak kena habis payment.
Okey, terima kasih Rin. Thank you very much. Inilah dia rookie kita yang kedua dan seterusnya. Silakan Rin. Okay, ni kita pasti kat sana kejap. Sini mic ni selamat, kat sini tak selamat. Okey, Syaidatul Afifah, Ratu 10 pin bowling kita. Cik, kita panggil dia Afifah je boleh. Boleh. Okey, Afifah ni. Okey.
Salah.
Zizan, kau kena belajar sikit daripada atlet negara ni, boleh tak?
Salah.
Okey, kau belajar daripada atlet negara untuk disiplin sikit. So, now, atlet negara bukan banyak orang boleh pegang dua title macam ni kan. Tiba-tiba nak berlumba pula, semua kau nak kaut sekali. Apa cerita?
Tak boleh. Sekejap. Tak boleh fokus.
Memang tak boleh fokus.
Ini perlukan fokus.
Memang tak boleh fokus.
Okay, for me sebab ini antara offer yang saya rasa macam I didn't expect at all untuk dapat offer yang macam ni. Sebab I've been following macam for the past season, tengok kawan-kawan tengok akhirin. Salah, tunggu.
Tu dia. Cikgu dah kata salah. Macam ni lah. I think kita tunjuk dia fokus. Kita tunjuk dia belanja satu. Bayangkan 10 pin di depan anda. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. Itu dia pin. Okey, 3, 2, 1. Kau bola. Okey, 3, 2, 1, go. Tunggu. Okey, inilah dia TGR family kita. You have joined a very crazy family.
Tak apalah, nanti lagi kita jawab lagi.
Okey, kita jawab lagi. Kita teruskan dengan Encik Hefni Saad. Orang pun dah cakap, nanti habis masa. Ini soal lagi motoris kita yang betul DJ Sinar FM. Kau tepilah.
Rasa macam tak buat kerja pula hari ni.
Itulah pasal kau relax je.
Tapi hari ni kau cakap.
Tak apa, saya cuba sedaya upaya.
Tapi kalau tahun depan nak berdua, kita
Nak berdua? Cuba. Dia nak cara. Tengok satu lagi nak cara jawab aku pula.
Tak, kita pair.
Okey. Kita dah tak ada masa. Jadi kita nak perkenalkan drivers kita yang lain juga. Imran Akil kat ujung ini. Okey. Imran pun antara yang termuda kat sini kan. Tapi tak ada pengalaman. Macam mana?
Betul-betul saya rasa saya tak expect tinggi tak dapat juara. Tapi at least saya nak finish the race lah.
Finish the race ya. Okey. Tengok. Bestnya kita interview rookies ni. Bila kita interview korang ni. Tak, kau tepi sekarang. Ladies and gentlemen, it's about to begin. It's round 1. Race day 1. Qualifying times coming up next. And so, it's down to our contestants. Nick Harris, Matthews Isaacs, and Victor Cax. Over to you. It's crazy.
Good morning, champions. Welcome to Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6. We are back again for another wonderful season again. My name is Matthews Isaac, and right next to me is Victor Cass as we bring you all the actions that happens on the racetrack. So how's things with you, man?
Oh man, I'm excited. This is the 6th season running here of the Toyota Gazoo Racing, and I cannot wait for this because it's going to be a fresh start for a lot of people here. For a lot of longtime competitors, it's going to be back to a familiar ground. For a lot of new people coming into this competition here, it's going to be exciting to see what they will be bringing to the table.
Absolutely, and remember, we have lots of things coming up for today as well. Remember, we have the promotional race, super sporting, rookies, sporting, and so many more other things happening over here as well. And one thing for sure is make sure to like and also share the live stream so that many people can watch this stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you want to hear about some good numbers, you know, to talk about the last 5 seasons of Toyota Gazoo Racing. 15 million viewers have tuned in to watch the Toyota Gazoo Racing Malaysia. I mean, how incredible is that? So many people's eyeballs are on this event. So you know it's one of the most prestigious motorsports events here in Malaysia.
Guys, I can only tell you that this is getting bigger and bigger. It's growing every single day, and I just can't wait for our race number 1 to start. But remember, we have to go through the qualification and da. But I just can't digest the fact that, you know, we have grown so much there, Victor.
I know.
We have started from season 1, season 2, boom, we're in season 6.
I know, it's time flies, isn't it? Especially when you're having so much fun. And the thing is that, you know, even though we say that it's fun, but then I think for a lot of drivers here, it is really hard work, you know, to get this far. But nevertheless, though, you're back here to Sepang once more. We're going to be racing on the North Loop track. And again, like, I just want to see, because given that we've already been running this for like we've been running in this track now for 2 seasons running here. By the time we got to this point now, I think the competition level has just risen higher and higher, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has been going really, really up, and I can tell you that, you know, things have been going really, really amazing so far. But let's have a look on what's coming up on our screens very, very shortly, because one thing for sure is that I can tell you that, you know, we're going to look through the cards, you know, we're going to look through the cards. Who is going to be coming up? We have several new faces. Well, not only several, there's a lot of new faces today, especially in the race, especially our rookie class. Yep. And yeah, I think we haven't got the queue yet, but never mind there, Victor. But remember, as what you were telling, you know, things have been going bigger. The competition is rising. The rivalry is heating up, and we will come back about the rivalry later on. But let's have a look on all of our races from the promotional all the way to super sporting and the rest. And I guess we'll be having a look on that very, very shortly. And I guess we haven't got that yet, Victor, but never mind. Right. In the meantime, we'll just wait for that. But one thing for sure is that, you know, I just can't wait for a race to start this week, because I just want to know what is going to happen this season.
I think also what's very important for these guys is what we're really fighting for, you know, because there's 1 million ringgit in prizes up for grabs here, right? So like 70,000 ringgit will go directly to the overall champion of each class. So we know there's a lot of money on the line here. This is why everyone wants to compete in TGR, because out of all the motorsport events here in Malaysia, this is probably the one that pays out the most. So with that amount of prestige, with that amount of like competition, it's really no surprise that, you know, the rivalries tend to heat up. You're seeing season after season, even from the super sporting all the way to promotional class, we just see people just constantly butting heads because they really want to chase for the top title there, and there's only one person that will become the overall champion.
Yes, so talking about, you know, all these kind of things. So talking about, you know, things have been going really up. What has been really going up is the prize pool. The prize pool is closer to 1 million ringgit there, Victor.
Yeah.
And this is one of the amazing things ever. And these races are all competing for a very huge prize monies. And I just can't wait to find out who is going to be going home with the biggest prize this season.
Yeah, so you can see on the screens right now, this is going to be the point system. We've been running the same exact format, you know, season after season. So if you've been joining us from the last few broadcasts, you're definitely very familiar with this system by now. So the thing is that, you know, not necessarily going to be aiming only for the race wins. You kind of have to be very consistent in your finishes, you know, race after race. After all, there are only 3 rounds in this season, in this championship here. So every single round here, you have to make sure you score a minimum amount of points points, and you have to, and especially given that this is going to be the start of the season, it's going to be very, very hectic for these drivers here because they want to get themselves, place themselves as high as possible to make sure that most of the work for the season will be done.
Yeah, so talking about points this time, I mean, the points is like, you know, getting really, really huge, you know, especially in the standings. You know, things have been going very tight. We saw from the previous season. We will come back once the race is about to start about that. But, you know, what really attracts me is that, you know, the point system. And talking about the track there, Victor, let's have a look on the track. So we have 9 turns. We're going to be using the north track for the Sepang International Circuit. And this time, it's all the same, but what's going to be making the difference is the races.
Yeah, so again, this is only half of the track itself, and this presents a kind of an interesting challenge, especially for those who are quite familiar with the full layout here, because particularly turns 7, 8, and 9, those are extremely new corners here for anyone who races in the regular layout. And I think the key thing for a lot of those who compete in TGR is being able to master that final turn, because you want to get a good exit so you can make the most of the maximum speed on the main straight.
Yeah, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a look on the track. It's on the screen right now. We're going to be using the north track. It's exactly like what you guys saw from the previous season. But, you know, talking about the track or talking about the races, what makes the difference is what's happening on the track this time. You know, that's going to be something new every single race. So I just can't wait to find out what is our drama for this season.
Yeah, there's gonna be plenty of drama because, you know, the fun thing about stock car racing is that everyone is on the same platform. We're running the same car, they all have the same horsepower rating, and you know, you can see right on the screen, it's like this is exactly the Vios platform. They've been racing season after season. These drivers are getting very familiar with it, and in fact, you know, outside of the fact that it's been modified, you know, to meet the safety standards as inscribed, or rather enshrined by the FIA, to ensure that, you know, these racers are going to be able to race safely. It's very much similar to the road-going version of the Vios, really. So for the most part, a lot of these drivers are going to find that, you know, this is going to be something they can feel at home there, even when they're on the track or on the road.
Yeah, so there you go, ladies and gentlemen. We're having a look on the car, or shall we say, our race machine, which is being used for every season, of course. And most of the parts are pretty much the same there, Victor. I think Victor knows much more in detail. He just already explained to you all the mechanisms behind it. But yeah, this is our race machine of the day.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, the thing I love about it is that, you know, these are full-size, like, saloon cars. So they tend to be a bit different than, like, other racing series where they tend to be very much, I mean, it is stripped down to a point, but still, the car doesn't have it doesn't have crazy amounts of power, so you tend to, like, lose out in speed if you even deviate a little bit too much from the ideal racing line. So a lot of these drivers find that they have to be extremely proficient, extremely smooth, and extremely consistent in order to be able to be very competitive here in this Toyota Gazoo Racing series.
Yeah, so there you go. We have a look on our track, of course. It's a beautiful weather. It's a morning, and nothing fancy.
I mean,
the sun is blazing, you know. We just can't wait to find out what are the odds for today. But there you go. It looks very, very silent for now, Victor.
Oh, it's calm.
It's calm.
It's calm. It's
calm
quiet.
before the storm.
Indeed, it is. That's what I was going to say, exactly. Because, you know, in just a few moments, we're going to be seeing all these cars come out on track here to prove their worth when it comes to the lap times. But nevertheless, though, it is still very early in the morning here, so the track temperatures, I think, will still be, you know, more or less handleable. But I think as you know, as the qualifying sessions continue on, especially once we get to the final qualifying session of the day, I think that's when the track will be at its hottest. So as of right now, you know, the track is still very, very green. There's still, like, not a lot of running going on yet. So I expect that, you know, the first few qualifying sessions, that will be the ones they're going to be laying down the rubber on this track to make it, like, heat things up a little bit, you know, just for today.
Yep, so there you go. Another look on how things have been going on lately on the track. It is pretty dry, and yeah, there's nothing much to talk about this. You know, it looks very, very calm right now, and we just can't wait to find out what's going to be happening later on, because I'm very sure in another few more minutes, Victor, this place is going to be filled with so many cars, revving the engines, rubbers burning all around, and we are going to be screaming on it.
Indeed, yeah, that's what we're here for. So yeah, I mean, it's really fun to kind of reflect back on, you know, the five seasons of TGR, because, you know, having done this for such a long time, it just feels like, you know, in some ways, Sepang kind of feels like a second home to a lot of us here. You know,
Of course.
racing teams especially, you know, they know that this is literally the best place in Malaysia right now to host a race. You know, I mean, there's nothing that quite compares to a facility like this. I mean, the fact that the track is so wide means there's so many opportunities for overtaking. You know, the difficulty of this track is unparalleled. It's literally a world-class venue when it comes to motorsports. And, you know, the turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, all these turns are so iconic. You know, people have been asking, demanding even for this track to be brought back into the Formula 1 calendar because of how iconic it is, you know.
There were debates everywhere. I saw that online. You know, I saw it on social media. People are asking, you know, bring back F1 and stuff. But, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be focusing more on what's been happening today in Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6. And if you just tune in into our broadcast, make sure to like and also share our live stream, as we will be going into our races very, very shortly. We'll be starting off with the Super Sporting plus the rookies.
Yeah, it's rookie class qualifying first.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I mean, I'm talking about the race.
Oh, yeah, fair enough. But, yeah, I mean, again, we're going to be putting in, you know, the newcomers plus the veterans of the motorsports industry here, because the Super Sporting class basically represents the professional drivers, rather the top professional drivers in Malaysia. You know, we got big names like Tengku Jan, like Mitchell Chia. We even got newer names to join the list, like Nakib Noor Aslan, who we remember used to compete in the sporting class, completely dominated that class, and now has been upgraded to a first-class seat in the super sporting class. He's now at the table with the big boys. I mean, again, incredible for someone who is only 18 years old. Imagine that.
Yeah, he is a very promising talent. He has lots of things on his back, of course. And I just can't wait to see how much he can grow more. And, you know, competing against the veterans or the giants so far in our tables, you know, this is going to add lots of experience to him. And we saw in the previous season he was having a one-week ticket among the rest of the other rookies. So right now, you know how it feels like to go up against all these huge races there, Victor.
I mean, again, like, he's already impressed us as far as the sporting class is concerned, but this is going to be a whole new level of competition for him. But I think the fact that he's able to rise so quickly through the ranks is truly a testament to how successful Toyota Gazoo Racing's rookie program has been, because so far, after running for 5 seasons, you know, 12 drivers have been taking part here in TGR's rookie class, and have used it as a jumping point for them to further launch their racing careers. One of the rookies who's going to be returning this year is actually Putra Adam. And if you've been following the motorsport scene, he's been kind of making waves himself, you know, competing in the other championship series, and has actually gotten the Malaysian karting champion in 2021. And now he's coming back here in 2023 as the one of the super sporting class drivers, and I'm going to be very, very interested to see how he's going to be shaping out after having taken sort of a sabbatical, we can say, but then really he's been hard at work behind the scenes, you know, improving his skills, improving his abilities, and just showing to the world that, you know, he's someone whom you have to keep an eye on, because he could be the next big talent here.
You know what I can smell over there, Victor? I can smell, you know, he has some unfinished business on our track. You know, that's why he has been, you know, putting up the work behind it, and here we go. He's going to be coming back here again, and he's going to be showing us how it's done. So, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we'll be going into our qualifying session, especially for the rookies, very, very shortly, as we are scheduled about another 2.5 minutes, or maybe 1 minute left until everyone is out on the pits and stuff. But at this moment, we are still waiting for all of the races to come out, and also our marshals or our race directors coming in as well. Yeah, I can hear the siren right now, Victor.
Yep.
So that means qualifying is starting very, very soon.
Yep, that's the siren to indicate to the teams that they got to get ready. The pit is about to be opened very soon. And in fact, I think it's already opened, actually. So the rookies will be coming out to run their laps and to see within this half an hour of time who's going to have the best time possible. And the fastest time means that you're going to be starting further up the grid, and pole position is exactly where they want to be, because once you're in the lead there, it's much easier to hold that lead compared to trying to climb your way to the top. It takes a driver of the caliber like Tengku, for example, to be able to start all the way from the back of the grid and end up winning the race outright. But, well, for these guys here, if you already qualify in first place, that's more or less half your job already done.
That guy has a huge history, man. Yeah, he's a legend for a reason, and he's one of the most prominent figures in motorsports, and he's being very well respected by so many other representatives, especially in the motorsport world. So that shows the reputation and the legacy that Tengku Zhan carries there, Victor. But this season, it's going to be a fresh start for him and also his team, Tlagamas, alongside his partner, of course, Michel Chia. So we're going to be finding out what are their results this season. But in the meantime, we're having a look on our track right now as we're getting the live feed from our pits, as we see some of the cars are coming out right now. And I guess qualifying has already started there, Victor. We are already past 1 minute has already done. So I guess they'll be bringing the cars out and having a roll on it.
Yeah, the rookies are all coming out. This is, if you guys are familiar with the Vios, it does look like the previous gen Vios, because it actually is the previous gen Vios. The rookies are going to be running this model of Vios for their race here, but it's still, very much the same type of engine. It's just a slightly different look from the outside. But again, when you know that, someone like Nakib Aslan is still able to set 126 flat in these cars, you know that these cars can still capable of a lot.
So is he still the fastest one who actually set the time right now?
I mean, of the rookies, I think they're going to be looking to try to match this level of performance, because they know it's certainly possible here. And right now we're looking at one car here, number 14. This is Nakib Aslan's younger brother, actually, Nazmir Aslan, the third of the Aslan brothers. And it's quite interesting to talk about the journey that these brothers had, because compared to a lot of people in motorsports or young talents in motorsport, they started relatively late into the game, but because they've shown so much talent through the sim racing, being able to win virtual competitions, they've shown that they actually have a massive amount of talent. That's why Alex Young has personally picked them up and has been coaching them, been mentoring them to become these ferocious drivers on the track. And given Nakib Aslan's meteoric rise here through the Toyota Gazoo Racing rookie program, it's no surprise to see that his brothers are slowly following his footsteps. We've got Nazmir Aslan now racing the rookie class. His elder brother is also competing in the sporting class as well. So we got 3 Aslan brothers in every class, every category here in Toyota Gazoo Racing.
All I can tell you is that one of them started the fire, now the whole forest is burning. So there you go. They are coming really, really hot. So we are on board right now with Nazmir Aslan, who is in the first position so far. And without the lap timing, of course, he's just there in the first position because the camera is on the first position right now. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This is one of our rookie class races where he will be competing among the other 6 races. Of course, we have Azrael Azhar. We also have Elson Liu, Iman Danish, Arif Azmi, and also Yazid Razal.
Yeah, these are all new names here in the rookie class. I mean, all 6 of these drivers have never, had hardly even touched, I think, a touring car like this before. Like, Nazmir Aslan has competed in the Rotax Max Malaysia competition. We also have a Rotax Max Junior champion in Arif Azmi as well. So these guys, they do have a bit of that karting background, but they're going to find it's going to be quite a transition getting into a real life heavy machine like this. I mean, these Vios, they weigh about 1.1 tons each, so definitely a far cry compared to the little peppy little cart that you'll be driving, in the back roads.
Yeah, I like this number 77, Alson Liu, where we saw him stressing out a little bit on the guy. He's trying to push it out and see what are the things that he can learn, especially the pros and cons of his own machine. But here we go. He's right now still holding on to a 1.27.170. So I believe that is the so far the fastest. but we'll get more updates on that very, very shortly now.
It's not a bad time, really.
Yeah.
But, you know, this is really just the start of the thing. But, you know, Elson Liu self-describes himself as a race enthusiast and a sim racer. He has competed in go-karting, though, winning the Red Bull go-kart clone in 3rd place, and also takes part in sim racing as well, ERGP in the bronze,
So
Global
we
Edition
got
bronze.
virtual and reality together.
Exactly. So he's got both of that going for him.
Yes.
Let's see how he's going to be able to handle a series like TGR, though.
Okay, so he's going to be in my watch list. I'm going to really have a look on Elson Liu, because he looks very, very promising. He has both experience of the both worlds. And here we go. The man on the track right now who's yet to set any timing, and that is believed to be Yazid Raza. And now we are back again with Elson Liu.
Yeah, so Yazid Raza is a little bit of an odd one because, you know, he doesn't have the same sort of karting or sim racing credentials as the others, but he is very, very enthusiastic when it comes to racing. He sim races often, and he also goes for track days as well.
Yeah.
So he does have that experience behind the wheel. The question is, how does he handle competition like this? Because it's one thing, you know, to have experience driving on a track. It's quite another to be racing against. It's going to be a very interesting experience here for Yazid Raza, I expect.
You know, from all the characters you are talking about right now, Victor, all I can think of right now is that, you know, all of them have different route of ways to come into motorsports. So it's going to be quite of a mixed culture over here to find out who's going to be the best.
And that's the thing that's kind of like marks a generational shift now, right? Because in the past, if you wanted to become a professional driver, you have to rise around through a very fixed path, really. You start from the karting world, you move your way up to touring cars, and eventually, hopefully, be able to get to open formula or even go all the way to GT3. But then now, because sim racing has you know, had a massive, massive boom since 2020, we're seeing that this has become a new avenue now to bring in new talent into the sport. And, you know, with the success of drivers like Nabila Aslan as well, and, you know, the slew of like rookie drivers here who have started from that sim racing background, it's no surprise that, you know, the doors are now kind of wide open for a lot of new people to join into this motorsport.
Yep, so that's how the journey works. And in the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tune in, this is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6, as we are right now having our official qualifying for the rookie class. As you can see, all 6 racers are already out on the track, and we have another 22 minutes to go for them to set a very good timing. And at the moment, Elson Liu, the man who has all the experience in the world so far, who is, oh no, it seems like Arif asked me who got a better timing now, with 1.26.542, Victor.
Oh, that's good. That's good. It's starting to get real competitive up in here because Elson is only like 3/10 behind Arif asked me right now. So I think like if he can just find an extra 10th or so in some of these corners here, he might be able to beat the time. And, you know, given that these are all similar platforms anyway, you know, whatever time your rival is setting, you know you can match that. So let's see how they're going to try to do that, especially given that he's following behind Asmi right now. And this is going to be another interesting thing that these rookies will have to learn, right? Is that slipstreaming is going to be very much the strategy going forwards here, because they have to understand that, you know, given that this is a spec series, given that these are saloon cars, the effect of taking the draft behind the car is very, very strong. And especially if you're trying to chase pole position, you kind of want to have the toe, really, because that just gives you an extra, what, 2-3 of a second per lap. So just that, you know, if you don't get the toe, you're just losing out on that much time, you know.
I mean, slipstream is fine, but kissing the bumpers is not. You know? Yeah, so that's the rules and regulations, ladies and gentlemen. If you happen to be kissing bumpers and stuff and the car in the front starts to spin off, then, you know, the race director is going to call you.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially if we push them off. But then again, some drivers have used the tactic of bump drafting, which is basically, you know, you're kind of kissing the bumper behind, but you're using that really to push the car in front a little bit faster, because the car in the rear doesn't really suffer from the air drag. So you technically do get a little bit more of a boost actually when you do a bump draft like that. But that's really something you want to do during the race itself, and it's kind of a way for you to catch up with the leaders if you kind of falter behind. But given that this is qualifying right now, they want to give each other space.
Yeah.
They especially don't want to give each other the toe, so they want to try to break that off as much as possible.
Yeah, this is another number that is kind of attractive right now. Number 99, and that is Arif Azmi, who is in the first position, having a very good timing so far, is what Victor spoke about earlier on. And this is the car number 93, Yazid Raza, who's on P4 with the 1.27.080. I think 1 second difference compared to his top 3 on the top there, Victor.
Yeah, and we're still seeing Azria Azhar and Iman Danish not yet setting a time. I think they might have been deleted due to having exceeded track limits. Yazid Raza seems to have called it for now going into the pits here. He's only managed to set the best time of 127.080.
Why is he giving up
almost
or what?
flat. Most likely just trying to get maybe some feedback from his pits right now on what he can do to try to improve his time, because he's not quite breaking into the 126 yet. Arif Azmi, though, he's been steadily just improving his time. Purple sector 1 right now, and looking very, very good, you know, with that lead right now. The 126.3, 5/10 faster than Nasmir Aslan right now, so a very comfortable spot really, but there's still about 18 minutes to go. Track hasn't quite heated up fully, but I think that once the temperature start to rise a little bit, we're going to see the grips level maybe increase a bit, or rather, maybe these drivers will start to get to the hang of really trying to set a good time here on North Circuit, and hopefully we'll see these times start to close up.
Absolutely. So we have another 18 minutes to go, and I believe there's going to be several cars coming into the pits, and there's going to be changes of tires and stuff. But then, Victor, I have a lot of questions right now. What happened to Azrael Azhar and also Iman Danish? They seems to be not recording any time yet.
Yeah, I think like it could be because they cut limits so that they got their time kind of deleted, or they haven't really been able to put a full lap together
12 minutes,
yet.
really?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, sometimes it happens, like especially when you're trying to push the limit a lot. You don't necessarily if you just hit the track limit a little bit, it's very much deleted. You know, there's no exceptions really. If you're over the line, you're over the line. So that's the only thing they can do is just try to go back out once more and hopefully set a cleaner lap. But I think there's still time left here. So the official qualifying can sometimes be a bit of like a way for them to warm up before the race to get themselves set into a rhythm. And you know, drivers are very much, they need to be able to put themselves in that zone, right? So some drivers take a little bit longer to get there. Some drivers can just kind of hit the ground running, so to speak. So it's really up to the drivers themselves to see how they can try to improve their time, and how and especially for these bottom two right now, is how to set a clean time. That's the kind of challenge they have to face. But you know, these are rookies, so this is going to be the test bed for them to figure out these challenges.
So I guess pretty much all of them are in the pits right now. So I guess there's going to be some changes coming up, especially there's several checks from the mechanics and stuff. But you know, Victor, I guess they have already set quite a decent number of a time right now. They still have another 16 minutes to go. Do you think there's more possibilities for them to increase or perfect the time more?
Yeah, as long as the timer is running, there's always a chance for someone to set an even faster time. So even if you're, you know, the provisional pole sitter, you don't necessarily want to kind of rest on your laurels too long, because you know any time on the board is meant to be beaten. So if there's still time left running, that means there's still opportunities for other people to challenge your fastest time. So. But nevertheless, well, what we see from these guys coming into the pits is that they're checking the tires, making sure that the bolts are all nice and tight, and making sure there's nothing loose or anything unforeseen about the car's setup that needs to be adjusted. But I think for now, it's really about these drivers trying to get comfortable with the environment here, being comfortable racing here on the North Loop, being comfortable in their cars, knowing, being able to predict exactly what the car will do under these kind of strains, especially during these fast corners here, where you know car control is of the utmost importance here. And these sessions, you know, the more they add up, the more familiarity they build with the car, means they're going to be able to push it even harder the next time they come around.
Yeah, talking about timings and stuff, who's left on the track right now is the car number 80, and that is Iman Danish. And are we going to get a time? Nah, still haven't got it. Oh yes, we got it. We got it, Victor.
That's from Yazid Razak's car,
okay.
actually. So 127 wait, sorry. Iman Danish measures at 126.997. So
yes,
that's okay.
that's what I've been talking about.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough right now. So let's see if he's going to be able to prove on that. But now
he's still keeping in the 120s. That's 26. Yeah, it's perfect. Perfectly good so far. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you just tune in, this is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6 happening here live in Sepang International Circuit as we are underway for our rookie class official qualifying. We have another 15 minutes to go for them to set a very good time so far. But at the top 4, most of them already set at 1.26 so far. And only Yazid Raza on P5 has set about 1.27.080. He's getting closer, and let's see if there's going to be any improvements in the coming turns there, Victor.
Yeah, Iman Danish, you know, he has a lot of experience racing in other classes here because he has taken part in the Super 1600 class in the MCS, and also he's taken part in the Saga Cup in the MSF Racing Series, and actually finished 4th in that competition. So he definitely is coming in with like the heavy hits as far as achievements go. So it's it's going to be kind of interesting to see how he tries to fight back up to the top here, if he's able to set even faster times right now. Yes, he does. He upgrades himself 3rd place overall right now with a time of 126.7. So he's slowly climbing up the ranks. He's slowly getting himself into the comfort zone, and that's really exciting to see.
Yeah, so much room left to be improved so far, and we have another 13 minutes to go. And what I'm really interested to see right now is Victor's Alison Liu. Looking at his timing, there's at 1.26.816, but he was on the top earlier. But right now, it seems like the rest of the other packs have already caught up in the top 3, leaving him in the 4th position. But we're having a look on the livery number 93 over here, and that is Yazid Raza, who set about 1.27.080. So there you go, all smiles on that man, giving a little bit of a love. And if you're a fan of him, make sure to comment on the box, and comment box, of course, not at the box, but yeah, on the comment box, and show your support for these rookie races. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, we also have the promotional race coming up very, very soon. I know most of you want to know what's going on in the race world of celebrities, but we will get that very, very shortly later on. But right now, we're having a look on another 13 minutes to go for this official qualifying for the rookie class, Victor.
Yeah, right now we're riding along with Nazmir Aslan, the 3rd of the Aslan brothers competing in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Series. I mean, he is in the rookie class. His eldest brother is right now super sporting. His elder brother is in the sporting class as well. So all 3 Aslan brothers are just going to be competing against each other, really, see who's going to come on top of their respective classes here. But Nazmir, you know, he's just following in the footsteps here, and, you know, having seen the success that his brothers have been able to achieve, it just seems like this family here has no shortage of talent, really, because considering that they came up so quickly through the ranks here, it's still incredibly young, still full of so much potential that, you know, I wonder how I just want to see how much further these guys can actually go in this competition here. But right now, his main goal here is to see whether or not he can beat Arif Azmi's time of 126.2. That last lap didn't quite improve his time yet. He's still stuck in 3rd place overall, 126.7. So let's see whether or not Iman Danish, who currently holds the 2nd place right now, is going to improve his time, because he's already 126.595. So he's already staking his claim right now for maybe being the rookie to beat in this class.
Yep, and we still haven't got any information on Azrael Azhar, who's still pretty much, we do not know what's going on. So never mind, we'll just give our entire focus on the top 5 who already set their time so far. And this is the car number 80, that is Iman Danish. Can he beat Arif Azmi's timing? And not yet. A little bit. We saw a little bit of improvement on the 64s.
Yeah, I mean, again, Arif Azmi has the benefit of, you know, being a junior karting champion himself. He knows exactly what it takes, you know, to be the top of the class here. And Iman Danish, you know, has his best finish has been 2nd in the tuner production class in the MSF series, I believe. So, you know, he hasn't quite experienced that success yet, and I think, like, it's only going to be a matter of time maybe for him. But nevertheless, it's already setting up to be a very interesting rivalry, because again, these guys come from very vastly different backgrounds, and the fact that all of them are going to be competing here in one class itself, just it's going to be an interesting competition to see which driver from which background really is going to have the advantage here, because I feel that in essence there really isn't an advantage. It's just more of like how quickly can you come to grips with this platform here, with using the Vios, with this track here, the North Loop. The faster, the more flexible you are, and being young, you're definitely very, very malleable. The more you're able to adapt to this new environment, the more likely you're going to be able to experience that success.
Yeah, we kind of saw a little bit of a nod from one of the directors over there. They're pretty much not pleased with what they're seeing, but I'm very sure, there's lots of things that can be improved later on the race. But at this moment, we're having a look on this number 51, and that is Azrael Azza. We are still yet to find out what his mystery timing is, Victor. Because what if he's already faster than Arif Azmi, Because we could not get his timing, but here he comes at 1.21. Will he able to beat that? And did he?
No, still half a second off Yazid Razak's time, so he still is on the bottom of the list right now. A list of 6, I have to say, so that's a little bit of context there. But nevertheless, it slowly looks like he's starting to get the grips with it. Let's see whether or not he'll be able to improve. There's still 9 minutes to go, so plenty of time for him to go for another run. But speaking of another run here, Nasmir Aslan still comes across the line. Has actually set a 126.619 here. Oh, sorry, that's Elson Liu, who's actually improved in time, setting a 126.619. But that seems to have been swiftly deleted, though.
Oh, no.
Must have cut some track limits there. And race control is like, no, I saw you did that right there. So, unfortunately...
No wonder we're not getting any timing lately.
Yeah, it's been unfortunate, but, what do you do? Like, it's the rules, If your car goes over the white line, that's already out of the track limits, so you can't keep that... The time wouldn't be able to stand. It's not legal, that's why.
So I guess there you go. It's Iman Danish, the car number 80. And I believe like he's having a little bit of a word with the rest of the others. But at this moment, Victor, I can tell you the fastest one so far is going to be Arif Azmi and Iman Danish. So I'm going to be watching very, very closely between these two. If they are the fastest here, I want to know what they can do later on the track. So can we expect a close rivalry between Arif and also Iman?
I mean, looking at the times, I think that's definitely on the cards. The thing is that 3/10 difference is still significant. It's very significant for a stock series. But the thing I want to highlight, though, is that a time of 126.2 is very competitive, even in the super sporting class. I wouldn't be surprised to see is Arif and Iman actually jostle with some of the super sporting guys later on in the race, because both of them will be racing together on the track at the same time. So yeah, I mean, given that we've seen in the past before that sometimes rookie drivers can go faster than the super sporting guys. So Nakib Aslam being one example of that. So it's definitely a lot of hope for these boys here in the rookie class.
So 7 minutes left on our official qualifying, and if you're just tuning in, this is our Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6 happening here live under the blazing sun right now, which is yet to heat up this track, Victor. It's now, getting it all started out, and I believe around 1 p.m. or 2 p.m. I think that might be the most hottest. Most likely.
Yeah, definitely. Once the sun is all the way up on top, you're going to see things being a lot more hot and humid out here.
Yeah.
But it's still early in the morning. It's still perfect chill kind of weather to go out for a drive right now. But I think some of these rookies might be sweating a little bit under the collar, especially those that are a little bit behind the time. Definitely not so much for Arif Azmi, though. Right now, he's still parked in the pits here as the crew is checking out in the other car just behind him. But nevertheless, I think he's done quite enough at this point here. If no one's going to be able to come closer than 3/10 of his time right now, it seems to be, it seems like it's going to be a tall order for anyone else to challenge him, really.
Yeah, the man is just waiting, like who's going to be beating my time right now? So yeah, he's the only one who is in that, 1.26.237. The rest, especially Iman, Nasmir, all in 1.26.578 and above. So that shows quite a gap there, even though just 2 milliseconds. But one thing I can really see is that, Arif Azmi looks absolutely confident with his timing there, Victor.
Indeed he is. Less than 6 minutes left to the end of official qualifying right now for the rookie class. I think that's going to be Arif Asmi going out on track to try to set one last run here to see whether or not he can either improve or maintain his top spot right now as the provisional pole sitter. Iman Danish as well going to be looking whether or not he can find the extra 0.3 of a second somewhere in his track so they can actually take over Arif Asmi's pole position. And right now, I mean, time is running out here, so this is going to be very much the last bit of running here for these rookie drivers before they have to eventually prepare for the actual race.
Yep, so there you go. We're having a look on the man here, Yazid Raza, who's still in P5. He's the only one. I kind of feel like he's on the 127s. So will there be any improvements as he comes on into the several corners that's really coming up before he comes into the Kuala Lumpur Straight? But at this moment, Victor, I can really say that, you know, although we see Arif Asmi has had a very good time, but we cannot underestimate anyone, especially in the race, especially Iman Danish and Nasmir Aslan, who's having a very close look on Arif, of course.
Because the thing is that, you know, there's two kind of times you have to kind of watch, kind of like aim for as a driver. You know, you want to aim for your fastest qualifying lap, but you also want to aim for your most consistent race lap. And the race consistency is what is actually more key, really, to winning races here. Because even though you may be able to set that one fastest hot lap, you know, during a session, if you're inconsistent in how you get there in the first place, you may not necessarily have a good time when it comes to the race. So what these sessions for these drivers do is really try to build them into a consistent rhythm, making sure they can nail their lap times, you know, within a tenth, maybe even less, you know, lap after lap. And if they're able to do that, they know they have a very, very high chance of, you know, maintaining track position or even just improving in general if everyone else, you know, is not able to maintain that level of consistency. But, you know, the other thing as well is that these guys will have to just test what is the limits right now of this machine here. The Vios being front-wheel drive using standard road tires, you know, is not as grippy as, you know, the typical slick tire race cars that these guys may sometimes race in. So they have to adjust to it. They have to understand, you know, what the Vios can and what the Vios cannot do, and it's crucial for them to understand where those limits lies so that they wouldn't go over it or potentially, you know, ruin the race entirely.
Yep, so we have another less than 2 minutes left in our clock, and Nasmir Aslan right now, who has clocked into 1.26.739, and there you go, a look on Alex Young and also the rest of his team. And this is the leader so far, who's having a very good time, and that is Arif Asmi. Can he able to hit a different timing this time? It seems like the other one's coming closer, and there's nothing much to update. Sorry about that.
I think he was just giving some room there to Danish, you know, to get past him. Maybe he might even be thinking about, you know, borrowing the toe from him. There's only 2 minutes left to the end of qualifying here, so this could be the last one of the last shots here for him to improve his time even. So if he's following behind there, if he's able to catch the toe off of Iman Danish there, which I think Iman is also like watching very closely in his rearview mirror right now on Arif Asmi just following behind him. So I wonder if he's going to let him pass. Yeah, he's going to let him pass as well. They don't want to be the lead car here because, like I said, the toe is very, very strong. So it's kind of funny that both of these guys just don't want to be giving the toe off each other right now. So they're just basically swapping places constantly on track.
Yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, if you just got into our live stream, make sure to like and also share our live stream. And if you can do support our races and stuff, make sure to hit on the comments, and also you can also do our predict and win and stuff. You know, you can let people or anyone know who is going to be winning this race. We're going to having a very close look on our rookie class and also our super spotting that'll be coming up very, very shortly later on. But we have another 1 minute left in our clock until the official qualifying is done and dusted, Victor.
Yeah, I mean, I expect that, you know, the way they've been backing off, they really want to be able to set themselves up for a final run here before the time runs out. You can already see Razali just pushing towards the edge of the track limit there in order to try to gain maximum speed on the exit. But watch out for Iman Danish, though, just overtaking him on the straight there. They want to go side by side, not really want to give the toe to each other. But now they're going to be swapping in one before the other. So with only 40 seconds left, this means that practically this is the last lap that these guys could do here. So it's going to be so interesting to see who's going to be able to set the fastest time. So Iman in front, Arif Asmi in the back though. So one mistake there from Iman Danish and it could potentially ruin not just his lap but Arif's as well.
Yep, so far we saw all no updates, especially on the timing. So will we able to see an update on our timing this time? So here we go. We're having a look on this man, the livery of car number 80, Iman Danish. As I told earlier on, Arif Asmi, Iman Danish, and Nasmir Aslan are the ones that I'm really looking forward to, especially in our rookie class. And this is the car number 80, Iman Danish. And this man has clocked about 1.26.564. Is there a moment for him, that Victor, to beat Arif Asmi's timing right now?
There's always a chance, you know. It isn't over until the fat lady sings. So until the very end of the session, we will know who will be the pole sitter here. Is it going to be Arif Asmi to continue to hold his position here, or is Iman Danish going to be able to pull off Kulita in the final sector here? Ooh, just almost getting his tire over the limit there here. I hope that's going to be quite lenient from race control, but he comes across the line. Is there going to be an update on the time here as a checker flag comes up? He only improves it by a very tiny margin. Not enough to beat Arif Asmi here. So Arif Asmi takes pole position in official qualifying here for the rookie class.
Yep, ladies and gentlemen. So that is the end of our rookie class official qualifying. So it seems like Arif Asmi right now is the man with the fastest time on our track, clocking at 1.26.237. I mean, that's a very good timing, as what Victor said. He should be competing with the big giants maybe someday, very soon. But now he looks very promising. He has set his mark on the track. So it's for the rest, they need to chase this man down.
Yeah, indeed. So very well done to our rookie drivers here. I'm glad to see that no one has done any major drama here, given it's going to be the first time on track here with these cars, and that's exactly what I love to see. It just goes to show that these rookies, they know exactly what they're doing. They are perfectly capable of being able to do it. So let's recap the results once more time, because Arif Asmi is the pole sitter for the rookie class here in official qualifying, ahead of Iman Danish, ahead of Nasmir Aslan, the youngest of the Aslan brothers. Elson Liu takes the 4th place there, but time at 126.8. Yazid Raza has improved the time somewhat, but not quite. 127.021 is the best he can do, and Azriel Azahar finally sets a time on the board here at 128.1, but unfortunately it's not enough to beat the rest, so he remains on the bottom of the leaderboard.
Perfect. So we saw a little bit of a glimpse of between Arif Asmi and also Iman Danish. There's a little fight in the last lap. So I can't wait to see what they have to offer once they go into the official race number 1. So let's have a look on the highlights on what happened on our qualifying, just in case you missed it, you forgot your breakfast or something. And there we have it all under control to show you what has happened in our official qualifying. So far, I believe most of them started pretty well, and we saw the man in the front, Asmi, has been doing so well. But then, Victor, at certain point, the timings did not change at all.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you're already pushed out, if you've already pushed the max already in your first stint itself, you're just going to be constantly adjusting, trying to see where they can gain time here, gain time there. Sometimes it may not work out, you might end up losing time anyway. But these attempts are important because they help the drivers kind of build more familiarity with their machine, allow them to gain a lot more knowledge really about what makes themselves go faster or slower, and that can be very important during the race itself. So these qualifying times, even though they haven't been like constantly blazing that leaderboard so much, but there's still a lot of information that these rookie drivers are getting from not just these qualifying sessions, but even past practice sessions as well. And hopefully to be able to put it all together when it comes to the race later on today.
Yep, so I believe that is our entire um, highlights of what happened on our official qualifying rookie class. So we already saw the result, we already saw who is the fastest man, and I can really tell you they will be going up against the rest of the other, the good ones, or shall I say the veterans or better racers later on there, Victor. So this is going to be putting a little bit of a pressure for these rookies, but you have to live and learn. So there's going to be lots of things to talk about once the official race has started. But right now, it is the end of our official qualifying rookie class. You're back with us. My name is Matthews Isaac. Next to me is Victor Cass. So Victor, what do you feel about the qualifyings lately?
I mean, again, very impressed by the time so far. It's very competitive for the sporting class. It definitely could contend with some of the guys in the sporting class, and that's exactly what we like to see from the rookies here, you know, to show that, you know, even though this is going to be the first time coming in the competition, but they can already come in and hit very, very hard from the get-go. So with the qualifying being so well here, I just can't wait to see what's going to be happening for the rest of the day.
Absolutely. So talking about what's going to be happening, we'll be going straight to the man in the front with the mics. Nasruddin, take it over, my bro.
There you go, guys. For those of you who just joined us, we've just witnessed the first round of qualifying for the rookies category. And look at them fly. And looking at the fact that Arif Azmi and Iman Danish coming in first and second, these are two new rookies that we are going to be keeping an eye on. With me is Mr. Alex Young as well. Pada siapa yang tak kenal Alex Young, that means you're really, really young. You didn't remember the first Malaysian F1 driver. Alex, it's great to have you again for Season 6. What are your thoughts with the new batch class of 2023?
Oh, it's great. Like last year, we're having a nice mixture of rookies. You know, some with the pure karting background, some with the pure sim background, some with a mixture, amateur karting and MCS or MSF racing. So it's a nice mixture, and they're a good bunch of guys.
So we've got some really raw rookies that are, I think some of them are first time testing their skills out on the track, and then we've got some real veterans right here as well, like for example Iman Danish. He's got a few titles under his belt already. So how do you think this Season 6 is going to turn out?
It's going to be close. I mean, they all can do the lap time on the day, but it's going to come down to some more details, racecraft, who can get the most out of themselves in the qualifying and in the races.
Well, the experience is going to count, that's for sure. Especially when they start winning races and the load keeps piling up, yeah?
Absolutely. When you see the first two guys in qualifying, I mean, Arif Azmi is more of a pure karter, and he's very experienced. He's been karting since he was 10. And you just mentioned Iman Danish. He's a pure sim racer, and he was second. And they were very close. Iman actually would have got a lot closer, but he had a lap disqualified for track limits. But I think they're going to have a great race later today.
I hope so too. Race day one, man. And maybe one last question. We have the appearance of Nazmi Azlan. Now, this guy's got some pedigree. We've got Nakib, who's the eldest brother. And then we've got Nabil, who's now in sporting class. And now we've got the younger brother. So he's got a bit of pressure on. Both his elder brothers have won the rookie class on their first go. So what do you think he's going to be facing?
Ooh, pressure. Big shoes to fill. But Nazmi just has to realize he's his own man and he's got to do his own thing. You know, he's coming into the rookies with a lot less sim experience than both Nakib and Nabil, so he doesn't have that race experience that those two brothers had. So he just needs to take his own time. He was third quickest just now, so that's a pretty good performance for your first qualifying session in a real race car ever. But yeah, he'll have to just take his time to learn.
Sometimes we forget, that these boys are just about 16 years old. So sometimes expectations are high when you look at it on screen and you see them racing. Then why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? You know. So maybe for the benefit of the viewers, how do we manage the viewers' expectations when it comes to the rookies?
Well, how do I manage my expectations? I want all of them to be brilliant straight away. It is tricky. I mean, you got to consider all the different backgrounds, right? You know, like Nazmi has never driven a real car before. You know, so to get on a track like Sepang and some bit of sim racing, but not much. You know, but we've seen how quick he is. I mean, all these guys You know, we've seen the laps they can do it. We've seen how fast they are. That's why they're in the rookie program. They just maybe don't have the ideal experience. And that's what we're trying to give them through this program. The Toyota have done a fantastic job in molding these drivers. And it's not just about speed on track, it's about racecraft. It's about how you present yourself, and all these factors contribute to make you a more rounded driver. So yeah, just watch the development of the drivers. It's not just about the guys who are winning. You know, got to look at the guys at the back sometimes to see how they develop, because all of them come from different backgrounds.
Excellent, excellent. Thanks for that feedback as well. So, for our penonton-penonton di luar sana, manage your expectations. Saya tahu ada peminat-peminat who actually logged in since 8:30 a.m. just to watch the rookies race. Their qualifying times must be their own fans. And so, well, Alex says, relax, just let them get the feel of the situation, and I'm sure our rookies will be doing well. This is only round 1. We've got 2 more rounds to go, and this is only race day 1. So, for our casters out there, hopefully you've got some content, especially when it comes to the newbies, the rookies. Casters, it's back to you, Matthew Isaac and Victor Gax.
Thank you so much, Nas. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6. You're alongside with me, Matthews Isaac, and the Hound, the man. He's already in the house. That is none other than Nick Harris. How are you, man?
I'm feeling great. It's a fantastic day to be here. Perfect weather. And of course, as Victor alluded to in the previous broadcast for the rookie qualifiers, it seems that some of the drivers are taking a little bit of their time to just get warmed up, and it seems that just as they're getting warmed up, the track also is getting warmed up. So I'm looking forward to seeing the times that they are going to be pushing here today.
Yep, and we kind of saw that most of them are all new faces.
Exactly. Yeah. Yesterday when we were, there was the launching of the announcement of new drivers as well. There were a lot of names to cover, and of course some favorite names as well are returning from previous seasons. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how challenging, how challenged these new drivers are going to be, and what kind of challenges are going to be faced by our veteran drivers.
Yes, sir. So talking about veteran drivers, we'll be going into our official qualifying for the super sporting class. I mean, this is where the actual rivalry comes in, and I can really tell you so many things happen. I'm very sure that, Nick, you have been here since all the previous seasons. You know the drama. You know what happened on the track. So lots of things are going to be happening. We'll be talking even in detail once the race starts. But right now, it's going to be the qualifying, just as what Nick says. Me and Nick, we're excited to see what these races can show us. Also, you know, jot down a very good time so far.
All right, let's go over a few talking points here, right? There are a few notes that we were able to cover through. First of all, number 12, Tengku Janlei from Prima Pearl TD Racing. He is the 3-time Super Sporting Class overall champion from seasons 1, 3, and 4. He didn't miss out a chance to defend his championship in season 5 due to missing out round 1 because of COVID-19, unfortunately for him. But of course, there was some drama as well surrounding Tengku Janlei in season 5, round 2 in race 1, where he did not finish, starting from the back. He went on to win race number 2, though. Yeah. So we do see that Tengku Janlei is one of the names that a lot of drivers are looking to emulate in Super Sporting Class as well. In terms of his personal best, it is 1 minute 25.966 with a total of Super Sporting wins of 8. I mean, 8 total wins. Just gonna go over it. Season 1, race 1, he was winning. He won in Batakawan Penang. Race number 1 and 2, that was for season 1. Race number 4, Technology Park Malaysia, TPM. He was able to win race number 2. Bandar Malaysia, race 1 as well for season 3. And as well as Batakawan again. So we do see that he does have quite a number of wins here. But the biggest wins thus far was, of course, seasons 4, round 1 and race 1 and race 2. He won it both, as well as season 5, race 2. So in terms of overall wins, Tengku Janlei has many scalps under his belt.
I mean, he's a complete package.
Definitely.
He's a complete package, and I think he's one of the most favorites, and also his team, to win the race. And I can really tell you that although he faced a little bit of difficulties in season 5, especially in the last race, he's going to be coming back this season even stronger than Nick. And I can tell you, if he's able to do so much throughout the seasons, jotting down lots of achievements and stuff we just talked about, he is really going to be hunting something down for this season, and I can't wait to find out what it is.
May we not sing the praises of Tengku Janle alone. May he not be the victim of such praise. Let's sing a few praises for Hayden Haikal from Axel Sports as well. He as well has been a very interesting standout here. Very young indeed in terms of age, but also experience seems to be garnering more and more with each outing. Now let's talk about Season 5. He was the Super Sporting Class overall champion as well, with Season 3 winning the Sporting Class before he was upgraded in Season 4. So there's a lot to talk about here in terms of Hayden Haikal. We are going to be going into the pits here, getting to know. As we were talking about Hayden Haikal, there is his vehicle, number 81, representing Axel Sports here.
The defending champion, and this man has a lot of things to show us today, and I just can't wait to find out. He'll be joining with Nakib Aslan, of course, in the Axel Sports this time. And of course, this guy is very, very promising there, Victor. And I can really tell you that, you know, even though the rivalries are getting heated up, this is just going to be the qualifying. We're yet to find out what happens in the actual race later on.
Now, before we do begin here, here's one thing that we do need to cover here for Hayden Haikal specifically here. He did make huge waves in 2019 outside of the Toyota Gazoo Racing. Of course, the Malaysian Championship Series, better known, abbreviated by MCS. He was the youngest entrant at 15 years old, if I'm not mistaken. So, in terms of age, he may be young, but in terms of experience outside of Toyota Gazoo as well as in Toyota Gazoo, Hayden Haikal is not to be trifled with.
Of course. You just cannot discount that guy. You know, he's really, really good. We saw in the previous season, and he has been absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, and I can really tell you that this guy has what it takes to win. We saw that in the previous race, especially in the last race where we saw a huge problem coming through from Michel Chia, who was competing for the championship. But the man that escaped the entire race at that time, the entire chaos, was this man, which is none other than Hayden Haikal.
Yes, as we are looking at the track here, looking at the weather, track temperature of 30 degrees Celsius, air temperature 27. It is partially cloudy. Doesn't seem to be an obstacle for most of our races here, as long as the weather seems to be predictable and, of course, sunny skies or even partially cloudy. It ain't going to be much of a problem for our experienced drivers. Now, before we do begin, let's talk a little bit more about some of our other drivers here. William Ho, nicknamed Superman by his fellow drivers for his on-track heroics here. Definitely not just a heroic driver as well, but also one of the more experienced drivers. He has been the longest running super sporting competitor since Season 1 here, Matthews.
Yeah, I mean, he just didn't earn that name Superman just for no reason, right? So that shows this guy has what it takes, and he's really, really good. Of course, we saw him in the previous seasons as well, improving and, you know, getting through the rest of the other leaderboards. But there are going to be lots of other races there, Victor, because this is the Super Sporting, and you are going up against the elites, the one of the very best. So he's a very interesting prospect to look out for.
Exactly, Matthews. Of course, some of these drivers are already out and about, ready to get their timing in. It's already 2 minutes into the Super Sporting Class official qualifying. We do have a total of 30 minutes to go. Remember, ladies and gentlemen in attendance and those watching at home, whoever from this official qualifying that gets the best time, that states the best time, will be getting pole position. Pole position being the front of the track. That has its added benefits as well. Being able to, of course, everybody's going to be driving the same vehicle.
Yep.
So getting the most out of your positioning, especially in the timing for qualifiers, is definitely on the agenda for all the drivers.
Absolutely. So there you go. We have another 27 minutes left in our Super Sporting Class official qualifying. And if you just tune in, ladies and gentlemen, this is our 6th season of Toyota Gazoo Racing as we are underway for our qualifyings right now. And on board right now, we see is Alistair Jung from Axel Sports. This kid, or this man, I don't know how you want to put it there, because he has been phenomenal among the rookies, and now he has been phenomenal among the giants. So lots of pressure is going to be on him, of course, and I just can't wait to find out what he's able to do in the super sporting class. He's going to be going up against the man right behind him, which is none other than Nakib Aslan. You were talking about Nakib Aslan earlier on.
Yeah, we were talking about Nakib
Yes.
Aslan, but before we talk about him, though, I do want to bring up a little bit more about vehicle number 61. But before that, Alistair Young definitely does have quite a bit of weight on his shoulders here, being the son of Alex
Alistair
Young as
Young,
well,
yeah.
as well as the fact that he does have quite a bit of an advantage here, considering the wealth of experience that Alex Young brings to the table as well, in terms of training, in terms of preparation, not just the physical, the mental aspects of it as well as the technical aspects.
Yep.
So we do see that Alistair Young does definitely have a bright future ahead of him. But another name that I feel we've given a lot of praises towards our veterans as well as some of our newcomers that have penetrated into the super sporting class. But a name that I feel that I do hope that his fortunes change for this year is going to be Mitchell Chia Min-jae from Prima Pearl TD Racing. Now, he is a young prodigy, regarded
Yes.
as one of the top drivers of his generation. Started karting from the age of 11 years old and rose as far as winning the Total Max World Finals, competing in touring car racing in Europe under the Hyundai team. So I do think that for Mitchell Chia, the biggest standout here is that even though he has a wealth of experience, he has yet to secure a TGR championship for himself, shy of 7 points last season, if I'm not mistaken. So we do hope that for him, it has been a bit of drama-filled attempts here from the previous seasons, but will his fortunes favor him? As we do say, fortune does favor the bold, and is Mitchell Chia bold enough to reach for that 7-point margin here? Yes, last year, so close by 7 points. Will this year be the same case, or will he be able to grasp that championship finally?
He was very, very close. Very, very close in terms of, he just have that one race to complete it. But unfortunately, what happened on that race was history. I'm very sure if you watched that previous race, you would definitely know what happened. He was really, really bad. But, that is in the past. Right now, he has new goals. He has new target. And it's just what you said there, Nick. He's a very hot prospect to look out for. I'm really keeping an eye on Mitchell Chia. He's very, very promising. And I can tell you he has everything to win it. It's just that the title is not coming to his hands. He has the speed. He has the technique. He's very well experienced. And it's just that the winning and also the trophies are not coming in. Maybe can it be this season?
It could be this season,
Yes.
but right now on our screen is Freddie Anga from Telegamas Toyota, our Season 5 4th overall in the super sporting class. He did have quite a bit of a run out here in the last season. However, 4th is not enough though. He missed out by a margin of very small points here.
Yeah.
And this is the running theme for the super sporting class, Victor. The fact that the margins of points from 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th are margins of 4, 5, 6, less than 10 points. So it does go to show that the level of competition in the super sporting class is definitely at its highest point coming into Season 6, and it's just round 1.
Yep.
Here, Eddie Liu in the last season was able to score 2nd position overall, missing out by 5 points. And it seems that Alistair Young, despite the fact that youth is on his side, experience, they do say that youth and experience does not go hand in hand. But I guess, like we've alluded to beforehand, the technical aspects as well as the physical and mental preparation that has been provided to him with the support of his father and of course Axel Sports is definitely pushing him forward. But Mitchell Chia now definitely looking towards getting better positioning in this year's tournament, in this year's race. And I do feel that for Mitchell Chia specifically, it seems to be an even bigger attempt here with how he has been driving in the qualifyings though.
Yeah, he's been doing good. And this man over here, the number 17, Nakib Aslan, is another one to really look forward to in the Aslan brothers. And the man right behind him, it's going to be Alistair Young, has dropped down into P2. Talking about Mitchell Chia, this is one of the reasons why, Nick, I've been telling you that this kid or this man, you really, really need to watch out for. They are so, so good. Remember, we have big names over here. Tengku Jean, Brandon Paul, we have William Ho. But you can see the young ones are the one that's dominating the timing so far.
Yes, and I think that it does goes to show that aside from being able to get some time on the track as well. They do have quite a bit of simulator experiences in their train that has been implemented into their training regime, and I do feel that that is actually one of the biggest standouts here. Maybe with how the younger generation may be a little bit more accepting, not to say accepting, a little bit more quicker to pick up on technology. It does actually translate really well into performance on the track.
Yep, absolutely. So there you go. It seems like a little bit of a tossing coming between these two. And that is car number 63, Putra Adam, who is right now in P4, talking about 1.25.578. And you look at the timing there, Nick, there's nothing much of a difference when it comes to on the 125s between P1 all the way to P8. Brendan Paul in P9 right now, who is just 1 second difference between the rest of the others. Tengku Sean coming in P10. That is a surprise, if you ask me.
It is a big surprise, and I do feel that for what we have in store just in the qualifying alone, an average time of 125 across the board here, with some drivers, specifically Brandon Paul, Tengku Jan and Rahul Raj Mayer, hitting the times of 126, just goes to show that the timings from each and every one of our drivers here are just maybe as thin as a hair in terms of the margins. So it's going to be split seconds here that are going to be calculated, and that's going to be the difference between the first and second position. And I think when it comes to race day as well, when it comes to race day later on, it is going to be the same margins that they are going to be competing against. Brendan Paul here, looking to get a little bit more of his vehicle checked out. Maybe a few settings may have to be changed out.
He's been going through lots of problems, even the previous season. He had gearbox problem, and now I do not know what is his car's problem. And if another problem comes to his car, of course, this is going to be a big problem for Brendan Paul's momentum throughout the race, then.
I mean, you've spoken about momentum. He is a stand-up performer in the sporting class in Season 1. Despite that, though, ever since he was promoted into Season 2, it has been a rather cursed run for him. A run of bad luck, gearbox problems like he alluded to beforehand, and of course, a few problems with collisions caused by whether it's by himself, by his own volition, or because of other drivers, or whatever technical difficulties that he was facing, definitely dampened his momentum here. So we do hope that with the Super Sporting class being underway for qualifying, he will be able to score a better turn or a better attempt for this season. Remember, this is just round number 1. It's still very early on, but the momentum that our drivers are able to get here today, Matthews, will propel them forward and closer towards the championship.
For sure. So in another 18 minutes, we will be ending our official qualifying for Super Sporting class. And if you just tune in, this is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6 underway right now, live in Sepang International Circuit, as we are still looking forward to see who is going to be setting a better time. But do you have any information on Rahul Raj Mayer there, Nick?
I think he's one of the newer drivers, if I'm not mistaken. Like everything else, newer drivers tend to be a little bit of an unknown quality, and sometimes could be considered a wild card here. Could he be the dark horse that could disrupt the equilibrium of the race standings? We shall have to wait and see. But Rahul Raj Mayer from Mango Racing Team, definitely saw him yesterday in between the practice sessions, and he was in high spirits, big smiles, very spirited character, but also was dealing with a few bouts of anxiety here, a little bit of nerves moving forward here. Super Sporting class is definitely a category that not many are taking lightly here, and Rahul Raj Mayer is definitely entering the circuit with a lot of respect and a lot of preparation for sure.
I like his car color though. Very, very impressive. But yes, Rahul has been, I think, away from Toyota. I think he has been doing lots of other motorsport activities as well. He's also racing in several other competitions and stuff. So right now, he's been putting himself on the Toyota Gazoo Racing. So we are yet to find out, just like what you said, unknown quality and also unknown result, on to find out what this man can do. But there you go. We'll be having a very close look on Rahul as he coming into the pits. And number 2 will be in the watch list.
All right, so we're going to be seeing here from Rahul Raj Mayer is definitely going to be, Rahul Mayer, excuse me, is going to be definitely a quality that we're going to want to observe rather intently here moving forward. Going to be going into the pit, going to look towards getting a little bit of rest time here. Maybe he's already happy with the timing that he has, or maybe he could be just getting a few settings done because of the track temperature. Remember, the track temperature already hitting 30 degrees Celsius here. That is going to be very, very hot indeed here. A very sunny day here in the Sepang North Paddock circuit. And I do feel that I mean, you can see the precipitation, not to say precipitation, sorry. You can see the heat actually permeate from the ground. It just goes to show that how physically taxing can be for some of our drivers, especially those that do not have similar experiences here. Mostly in the super sporting classes, all of these drivers here have a resume, a very impressive resume of performances here from Brendan Paul to Tengku Janle, Alistair Young, Nakib Azlan. But I think Nakib Azlan here is definitely going to be a big standout here, mostly because that he was a sim racer, was competing in the Toyota Velocity Championship, if I'm not mistaken. Won it a couple of times. And I think the biggest change for him was changing from the simulator seats, from where he is at home or inside an indoor setting, and into the track. And definitely a lot more dynamic qualities have to be taken into consideration here moving forward for Nakib Azlan. But his overall performance across the board, ever since being added into the super sporting class, definitely goes to show that Nakib Azlan is translating that simulator experience very well onto the track.
Yeah, I think all these things will definitely help you out, especially when you're coming from the simulators and coming into the real track. So it is all a process of learning, and I can really see they have improved massively on the track. And I mean, of course, the passion plays a huge role. So we are just yet to find out what they can do this season. Previous season can be a season where they were going through a little bit of a patch, you know. But maybe this season is the season where they want to put a name on the scoreboards. But here we go. We have another 14 minutes left. And this is the Super Sporting Class official qualifying. And we still see Alistair Young clocking about 1.25.465, being the fastest man on the track so far. And right next to him is going to be Nakib Azlan on P2 with 1.25.489. That's not much of a difference there.
Well, it's about more than half of time left here. We are at 13 minutes and 45 seconds left remaining in this official qualifying. Quite a bit of time for our drivers to secure their best times here. But Tengku Janle, as we have spoken about him tremendously in a previous broadcast and in this broadcast as well, on this broadcast, excuse me, Tengku Janle now still getting some of the kinks in the armor fixed out here. At 126, it seems that Tengku Janle's veil of invincibility is starting to fall already, and it seems that with the youth slowly nipping at his heels, it is going to be a storyline to cover for Tengku Janle to break the mold, especially to show that experience is not easily defeated here despite the hunger of youth.
I mean, that's where Tengku Janle comes in. No matter how much, you know, the young ones are dominating the timings and the stuff, the moment you give this man a room to breathe, he will kill you.
Yes, Tengku Janle is definitely a man that does not hesitate to go for the kill, so to speak. And we have seen time and time again his aggressive driving, his aggressive attack towards the race line, and trying to make sure that he adds even give him a little bit of an inch as well. He'll find a way to move forward here. But looking at some of these drivers here with regards to Alistair Young, Nakib Azlan and Eddie Liu, these are three names that are most likely going to be dominating the times here if this keeps up. With 12 minutes on the line here, we do roughly estimate it should leave us with about 7 to 8 laps left of the entire track of the North Paddock track here, and starting from the times that we have seen stated by these drivers, it is imperative that they give their best few laps here. And those final few laps is just to get all of that little bit of attempts just done and dusted. No more stress, no more anxiety. At least the time has been set.
Yep, talking about being the best, I guess they have another 11 minutes left to show what's the best timing that they have. So there you go. We see a car, 4 cars coming out at the same time. And also being joined by the car number 33, Aaron Lim. Okay, we need to have a look on Aaron Lim as well there, Nick. Because I'm not sure if I saw Aaron Lim in the previous season. So he might be here on to make history, of course. But there you go. The car number 6 in the front, Eddie Liu. And right behind him is going to be Putra Adam as well. Another prospect that I'm going to be watching very closely. But we have another 10 more minutes to go. And so far, Alistair Jung has been the impressive one, keeping up with the same timing, along with Nakib Aslan and Adi Lu right now on P3. And the rest of the others, Michel Chia on P5 with 1.25.603. Not much of a changes from the top 3, Nick.
Yes, not much of changes indeed here for a lot of these drivers. But it seems that with a lot of the drivers here, we do see that most of them have a personal best of 125. With Eddie Liu actually being able to overtake his, being able to best his personal best at 125.779 in the previous season, now being able to get 125.514 of a second. So it's definitely something to consider here. Eddie Liu's performance, at least in the qualifying rounds, are starting to actually build up here. And I do think that with what it has been in store for Eddie Liu as well as Mitchell Chia, I do think that with previous seasons' attempts from Eddie Liu and Mitchell Chia, they are going to be some of the fiercest drivers on the track. 10 more minutes left to go.
Yep, 10 more minutes left to go, and we are still seeing Alistair Jung in the first position. So ladies and gentlemen, if you just tune in, this is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Season 6 happening here live in Sepang International Circuit. As we are underway for our Super Sporting Class official qualifying. There you go. A look on Eddie Liu. In the meantime, we also have lots of things coming up. We also have the other races coming up for the promotional, the one that you all been asking for. What's going on in the promotional? We'll definitely show you very, very soon on what is going on in the world of racing and also celebrities. But there you go. We will be getting all the information done over here. But man, we have another 8 minutes to go, and we are still seeing the same timing there.
Yeah, it's still roughly the same timing.
Did they max it out?
I think at the most part already, most of the drivers in the Super Sporting class have been able to find the best method, the most efficient tactic available in terms of getting some of their best times with the vehicles already, with the readily available vehicles that they have, which is the Toyota Gazoo Racing Vios. And I do think that for what is in store for them, they are maxing out at those times. And I think it's all a matter of shaving off those hundredths of a second here. And I think that's going to be almost impossible. Not to say impossible, it's going to be a battle with a hill, so to speak, a battle uphill, so to speak, for a lot of these drivers, mostly because that it's all a matter of being able to just come out of those corners and chicanes with relative speed, as well as not losing too much of the control, because you don't want to be losing that control. And with that being said, if you're not shifting right, especially when it comes to race day, you're going to lose out on speed, you're going to lose out on the angle of attack where you are entering from the race line. And I do feel that for some of these drivers, that struggle has been evident across the board here, especially when it comes to races, especially when it comes to race day.
So talking about Putra Adam, there you go. The man right now has a very good best lap timing at 1.25.578. So let's see if there's going to be any sorts of improvement. He's still keeping up in that 4th position so far. So if he actually maintains this, then he will be starting up in the same 4th grid later on. But there you go. A look on the car number 81. And that is believed to be Hayden Haikal, Nick. We were talking impressively about him. And he has clocked about 1.25.635, keeping him in P6 so far. The rest of the packs are yet to beat his timing. And he looks like he's resting.
I mean, he is, of course, one of the youngest entrants into the Malaysian Championship Series, MCS.
Yep.
And with that hopes is definitely going to be a little bit of added pressure here. I mean, to be given the kind of pressure at such a young age could actually make or break a character, right? But looking at how Hayden Haikal has been able to just take some of those punches on the chin, it shows that his level of understanding as well as the level of preparation is there. Alistair Young there definitely getting into the zone here. And he is definitely going to be enjoying the best time, at least the best stated time for the official qualifying here in the super sporting class.
Yeah, he's really looking forward to it. And I can really tell you, he is pretty much done with his timing there. And I'm not sure if he's going to go out and, you know, prove himself much more, because we have another 6 more minutes. Anything can happen in terms of beating others' timings. And this is the, I do not get the number.
Nakib Aslan, if I'm
Nakib
not
Aslan?
mistaken. Yeah.
Okay, let's hope that is Nakib Aslan. Yeah, that is Nakib Aslan. So Nakib Aslan is on pay 2 with 1.25.489. They seems to look super confident. You know, the way they look on the cameras and the way they're resting right now shows that, you know, okay, I'm done with my timing. Let's see if anyone's going to beat me. If there's anyone beating me, I'm going to go out on the track. I have another 5 more minutes left on the clock, and I'll show you what I can do.
Eddie Liu there again appearing on your screen with 5 minutes and 30 seconds, 30 plus seconds left. We do think that it is going to be final bits of tuning for a lot of our drivers here to make sure that they are able to at least score some really, really good times. And I do feel that for Eddie Liu in particular here, with such a tremendous display in the previous round, he did miss out by 5 points, as we did speak about it earlier on here. He did take second place in his first year of competition, and according to some of the notes here, he is one of the hottest new competitors in the super sporting class. Let's talk a little bit about stats. 125.779 is his Sepang North Track personal best, with a super sporting wins, 2 super sporting wins here in Season 5, Race 1, Round 1, Race 2, and Season 5, Round 3, Race 1, both at the Sepang North Track. So
well,
he has tasted the paddock, he has tasted the podium, the podium, excuse me. But it seems that overall, it's a little bit more of a struggle here. He needs to get a little bit more wins, but looking
He's not consistent.
I mean, it's not about consistency. Sometimes with so much competition in the super sporting class, Matthews, I mean, how can you tell what's the best of the best? Even statistically, looking at how impressive his performance is still not enough, considering the fact that everyone else is performing up to par.
I mean, that's the standards that have been set over here then, Nick. That shows that, you know, this is not a usual playground. This is not a place for you to, you know, go out there and have fun. These guys are going absolutely wild, and they know what they're doing. So for someone like Eddie Liu to be on the track right now, having 2 wins throughout the entire other races and stuff, so that shows, you know, he's yet to prove in a consistent manner. So if he's able to, you know, beat that one thing where he's able to be much more consistent, then we know that he's a real deal. But at this moment, he might be a savior for some. He might be helping the other racers, and yeah, he can be pretty much neutral racer at this point.
Yeah, it could be a neutral racer indeed, as you have mentioned in this broadcast. But with 3 minutes left, we will wait and see what are the final times. Is it still going to be Alistair Young up ahead at pole position, or could we see that somebody else is going to be able to slingshot ahead with a better time? As I said beforehand, it's all a matter of just seeing. I mean, we can't count the qualifying as done and dusted until everybody has stated their final attempt. And we have seen time and time again some of these drivers that were sometimes Freddie Ang, if I'm not mistaken, it was Freddie Ang in the previous season where he was 11th spot in the qualifying and suddenly shot up to 2nd or 3rd place with a really good final lap. And sometimes it could play to the fact that the congestion on the track could actually play a huge factor in the performance of getting the better times for some of these drivers.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, those kind of things kind of affect, especially once you go into the actual race, but maybe might not over here because it looks like everyone has their own gaps and distance. But yeah, what you actually said just now, Nick, it's going to be something that we usually look out for during the start of the race. That's where some of the time when they make the start, it turns up to be a bowling alley and stuff. But let's hope we can find a way for that and have a very clean race today.
Of course, fun is on the agenda, but we would like to remind everybody at home that safety is also a #1 priority. We do hope to wish to each and every one of you at home, do not try this at home or on any of the highways for sure. These are all trained professionals or are in controlled environments with marshals and everybody on standby to make sure that no serious injuries are taken in by any of our drivers, and of course to make sure that we create a safe and conducive and most importantly fun environment for our drivers to participate in.
Absolutely. So we have another 50 seconds left. This might be their one last chance, their one last opportunity to get a very good timing, unless they are pretty much happy with what they have right now. But if I were one of the racers there, Nick, until the clock runs out, I'm gonna go through. I'm gonna fight.
I mean, it's the equivalent of a boxer with a puncher's chance, right? I mean, you've got 30 seconds left, and in a game, in the game of motorsports, sometimes you win by an inch, sometimes you win by a mile, but the margins can be detrimentally small for some, and it can be rather frustrating. Like we have said beforehand, some of these drivers were just 5 points overall from being the overall champion of their respective classes, and it can be very frustrating for some of them just to know that you're just 5 points shy or maybe half a second short of getting that position that you have dreamed of or being on the podium. But speaking of which, it is going to be the checkered flag for the official qualifying. I do think that they have final laps to go before we are able to before we are able to jot down all of the times. Seems that Alistair Young still ahead in terms of the timing, as well as Nakib Azlan and Eddie Liu. Putra Adam and Mitchell Chia, making our top 5. Hayden Haikal, Aaron Lim, William Ho, Brandon Paulton, Kujan Lei, Freddie Ang, and Rahul Mayer are going to be making our bottom 12 here.
Yep, like father, like son, there you go. Alistair Young is still the fastest man on our official qualifying for the super sporting class, and followed by Nakib Azlan in P2, where he's able to clock about 1.25.489. So this is the man that we'll be looking forward to, Alistair Young. He kind of like in the previous seasons didn't make much name there, Nick, but this season he looks much more promising. He looks ready. That's the proper word. He looks ready, and he has set a very good timing. Let's see if this follows on the race as well.
I think with what's been happening with the pandemic, right, I guess a lot of our drivers had a pretty hard restart here in terms of being able to catch up. And I do feel that for some of the younger drivers, Alistair Young included, as well, Alistair Young, Muhammad Nakib, Nur Azlan, as well as some of the other younger drivers included here, were able to catch up with some of the more veteran drivers with whatever simulators that were readily available, as well as bringing a lot of their practice sessions online. I do feel that the Zoom sessions could have definitely gotten very heated here in terms of them preparing for it. But moving forward, it seems that they have finally found, a lot of the younger drivers have finally found their footing in the super sporting class. We did see in the previous seasons and rounds that some of the younger drivers were actually struggling in terms of how they were trying to find their footing, trying to find their pacing, as well as their momentum within the particular category, within the particular classes. But enough about that. Let's talk about results here. Break it down for us, Matthews.
Yep, so the fastest man in our super sporting class, it's going to be Alistair Young at 1.25.465, keeping him in P1. P2 is going to be Nakib Azlan at 1.25.489. P3 for Eddie Liu. P4 for Putra Adam. P5 is Mitchell Chia. P6 Hayden Haikal. P7 Aaron Lim. P8 William Ho. P9 for Brandon Paul. And P10 for Tengku Jean Lee. And coming up with the rest, we see Freddie Ang in P11. And last but not least, is going to be Rahul Raj Mayer from Mango Racing Team. What impressive qualifying there, Nick.
It was very impressive indeed. Nothing deviating out of the norm here in terms of what we have covered in the past. We did see some very good timings across the board for some of the drivers. We don't see any of those timings. We did see some personal bests actually being achieved by some of our drivers, and some of them actually able to better their personal best in the previous season. So that's definitely going to sing a lot of praises for them, and as well goes to show that they are improving overall. And I guess with them having more than, I think, I don't know how many races. I think if we count all of the races, maybe like the 20 hours of total time on the track itself, total hours of experience on the track, of races as well as qualifying. I guess the familiarity of the North Circuit is definitely going to sing wonders towards them performing better and better with each passing season and round. We're going to be looking to get ready to get our highlights readily presented for everyone at home here. But here we are, Alistair Young again, just getting back into the pits here. And just wondering, yes, no, maybe? I mean, he's not entirely sure. I mean, for a lot of these drivers here, they won't be able to know what their entire score timing is going to be until they get back into the pit. But let's take a look at the highlights here, Matthews.
Yep, so there you go, a start of our entire official qualifying for the Super Sporting. We started off with all of them coming out, so much rivalry, so much stories, so many histories between all of these races. The Super Sporting class has its own legacy, has its own story, and we are going to find that out in the official race later on. But at this moment, this is what happened. It seems like a very, very surprising start for most of them. And what surprises us all is this man, Alistair Young, putting himself in the fastest seat so far, clocking about very good timing, and the rest were not even able to beat his time then.
Yeah, Alistair Young definitely is showing his battle here moving forward, and I do feel that with a very impressive timing and quite the speed being able to be picked up on the North Circuit, Alistair Young is definitely enjoying that pole position. Whether or not he will be able to maintain that pole position coming into the race, we shall have to wait and see, because we do have to take into account how congested the circuit could be here, and sometimes it could actually affect a lot of the drivers' preparations as well. I mean, when you're preparing, there's nobody else on the track. But when it's race day, it's going to be more than 15 vehicles on the track.
Absolutely. I mean, once you go into an actual race, it's a totally different story, Nick. So these kind of things, definitely, pretty much, they're all trained and stuff. So I can really tell you that, you know, they're prepared for it. They're prepared. They're ready. They look ready on the qualifying. So I'm very sure that, you know, on practices and stuff, they've done up everything that they need. But when it comes to, you know, putting yourself on the race, that's where it matters. The qualifying, yeah, it matters a little bit. But once you're in the race, that is what actually matters. But talking about matters, I guess we're gonna be going to the main man in the front, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna go through that. But before that, though, I do want to add a little bit more in terms of qualifying. Yes, it does give an added advantage in terms of starting in front. But at the end of the day, what they do with that advantage, we shall have to wait and see. For those of you at home, we hear enough about the race. Let's get to know a little bit more about what's in store ahead from Nas in the pits. Over to you, Nas.
Thanks, Nick. I know I can count on you guys. Thanks, Matthew, as well. What a cracker of a qualifying round. Well done for Axel Motorsports, Alistair, as well as Nakib Aslan making it up. First spot and second spot, ladies and gentlemen. So it looks like Alistair, after the jitters of Season 5, now making a mark. Will he sustain this all the way till the end? Of course, we have to focus on Tengku Janle as well. Coming in at 10th qualifying position. Is this strategy or something wrong with his day today? We'll find out soon enough. Meanwhile, inilah dia jentera yang akan digunakan oleh Zizar Razak nombor 15. Tengok tu betapa sayang kita. Cium sikit, cium sikit. Itu dia. Kita akan tengok keadaan di Celebrity Pit kita di sini. Zizan sedang mengambil mood dan insyaAllah dia akan cuba berentap dan mendapat qualifying time yang sebaik yang mungkin. Jadi kita tumpukan perhatian juga kepada rookies celebrity kita yang berlumba untuk pertama kalinya. Macam-macam. Kalau ada Zizan Razak ni memang pecah perut korang semua lah kalau ada kat Sepang International Circuit ini. Jadi ada 9 drivers untuk promotional class sekarang ini. Jadi sekarang kita berada bersama dengan dia Encik Ezrin Loy kita yang dah bersedia untuk berlumba dengan 4 roda buat pertama kalinya. So sekarang ni qualifying time, ada ekspektasi tak?
Expectation saya adalah untuk to be calm and compose. That's where the time gonna come lah. So for the race, I will catch the front group lah. Because catches win the matches.
Cewa, catches win the matches. Ini full of quotable quotes orang kata. Ezrin, best of luck bro. Alright. All the best, be safe on that track. Jadi kita lihat lagi siapa yang sedang bersedia. Akhirudin di sini sedang dapat final pep talk daripada coach. Dan di sini pula Imran Akil kita. Macam you punya baklava, okay? Baklava makan. Ini balaklava lah. Alright. So, Imran, kita dah lama dah pantau, kita dengar di Hot FM dan sebagainya. Tapi tak pernah pula tahu yang awak sebenarnya suka berlumba kereta.
Saya baru-baru je lah timbul minat ni sebenarnya. Tapi saya ke arah motor. Tapi tak pernah ada dalam track race ke apa lah. Tapi this is my first time actually. Dan hopefully I did well lah.
Itu dia. So tak ada ekspektasi ni macam ni? Just race your best?
Yes, just race my best. Sebabnya kita nak try nak beat my own record lah, bukan orang lain sebab it's hard lah. Baru 6 hari kan kita practice, susah.
Bagus Imran ni, kata the biggest competitor is myself begitu. Alright Imran,
thank you so much.
Be safe on that track for the first time. Silakan. Okey, kita tengok lagi. Itu dia. Inilah dia. Muslimah. Cantiknya ayunya. Ya, itulah dia. Jadi sekarang kata-kata perangsang untuk isteri dan anak-anak. Ni bapak besar. Kau jangan dekat, nanti hidung kau cover frame, kita semua tak nampak.
Okey, kata-kata semangat all the best to Ain. Buat elok-elok, buat yang terbaik. Dah practice gear tadi 100 kali tau. Kau timing masih sama tu. Suami aku turun ni, I need to talk to you nanti. So buat elok-elok Ain.
Itu dia. Coach sudah marah. Apa nak buat? Coach sudah marah, okey. So Ain, all the best as well. Siapa lagi? Sempat tak seorang lagi? Sempat seorang lagi. Okey, kita tengok kat sini pula. Kita lihat. Nampaknya apa yang sedang talk di sini. Minta maaf. Ada banyak sangat kamera ada kat sini. Macam mana bunyi dia?
Willy sikit.
Belum apa-apa dah. Okey, semuanya memang dah bersemangat Rin. Jadi kat sini ekspektasi anda untuk qualifying yang pertama. Nombor berapa anda sasarkan?
Nombor tu tak jadi kat belakang kan Ain.
Itu dia cik. Dia confident je Ain ada kat belakang. Macam tu dia cakap macam tu.
Ain akan main-main dengan Ain lah.
Cik, mereka dah aturkan strategi tersendiri. Rin, please be safe. Okay, all the best. Silakan ke jentera anda. Alright, it looks like our celebrities are ready to go as well. This is qualifying time untuk melihat apakah kedudukan mereka di grid apabila langsungnya race 1 nanti untuk promotional class. Jadi teruskan bersama kita. Right now, it's about racing time, qualifying times. It's going to be going back to the casters. So, Mr. Nick Harris, Matthew Isaacs, I'm going to pass the baton back to you. Over to you, race casters.
And we're back. Thank you very much, Nas. And I would like to say that that man has been involved in so many seasons, yet he is ageless. The man is like... I want to call him like a vampire or something, you know, but he's like so ageless, you know.
I mean, that's the thing. Nas is definitely timeless.
Timeless indeed, right? Okay, speaking of timeless, what is definitely time sensitive is the qualifying that is in store for us. Unfortunately, we couldn't actually get the audio of what was being said in the interview, so we do feel a little bit left out on that. However, you do have quite a bit of interesting talking points for some of our promotional drivers in this category. And I do believe that when I was in the announcements yesterday, they announced a lot more newer drivers as well.
Yeah, only 4 drivers in the promotion class have been past competitors. Everyone else is basically new to the scene here.
Oh,
so
boy.
there's going to be a lot
boy.
to see here for this season, and definitely going to be a lot of things these guys are going to have to get up to speed very, very quickly with. So this is, of course, the promotional class qualifying session. We're already seeing these drivers getting themselves set up and psyching themselves up in the pits here. And, you know, I mean, it's, again, promotional class is always going to be a very, very fun series to watch because, you know, when you put in average Joes into these cars here, you know, not professional drivers, anything can happen, you know?
Oh, yes. Yes. And as we have seen in the past here, the proportional class drivers are all interesting characters in their own right, and some of them also have had quite an interesting foray into motorsports as well. With Zizan Razak being one of them, as well as Shukri Yahya, Ahirin Ahiruddin, and Ain Idrus. These 4 names are definitely competitors from the past seasons that have made quite a bit of a stir and have been considered quite the favorites in their respective classes here. And I do feel that it's only a matter of time before Zizan Razak and Shukri Yahya get pushed up in terms of their categories here, because with their respective performances, I do feel that a buff in competition could actually benefit them in the long run for sure.
I mean, season after season, we've just been seeing these 2 drivers, Shukri and Zizan Razak, just constantly pushing each other further and further every single race, and I expect that rivalry, you know, is just going to continue again this season. Though of the 2 of them, Shukri Yahya is definitely the most successful. He was the overall champion back in season 4, and he has won more races compared to Shukri. He has won races on both the street tracks as well as here on the North Loop, so we can say he's very well-rounded as a driver when it comes to this promotional class. Now, naturally, he's going to be coming back here this season to see whether or not he can clinch yet another championship, but knowing that there are plenty of newer drivers coming into the mix here in this promotional class, I think there's going to be a lot of contenders for that throne.
Yes, and with contenders coming in, I do say, we did say in the previous qualifying that with newer names comes unknown qualities, and sometimes dark horses can actually be discovered on the racetrack here. With Zizan Razak, Shukri Yahya, Ahirin Ahiruddin are names that we are and Ain Idrus are names that we're very familiar with. Some of the newer names, Mohammed Hafni, as well as Shaidatul Afifa, and Ezrin Aloy, Noreen Ashikin, as well as Muhammad Invan Akil. These names here, definitely newer names indeed here, but are they unknown qualities on the racetrack outside of Toyota Gazoo Racing? We shall have to actually delve deeper a little bit more on that, Victor.
One thing's for sure, a lot of these new drivers in the promotion class are themselves enthusiasts when it comes to motorsports. You know, I mean, Zizan Raza has been an entrepreneur, you know, in motorsports as well as other businesses. Ain Idrus as well herself has been very involved in motorsports in the past. But then when we look at some of the newer people, we got some people who had some competition experience. Particularly, we have Shaida Afifa. She used to be a 10-pin bowling player, and now it's no surprise that, you know, when you're good enough in competition, even in another sport, you naturally want to carry the same spirit into any other sort of activity you do. So now she's going to be doing it in motorsports here, and I'm going to be excited to see what she can do, because she also has the benefit as well of having had the support of Michelin in the past. She took part with the Michelin Passion Experience, so she definitely knows what to do when it comes to behind the wheel. Now that she's going to be coming into a full-time competition here in the Toyota Gazoo Racing Malaysia, I really want to see whether or not she'll be making just as much waves as she has had in the past.
Well, from hurling bowling balls at bowling pin, 10 pins at high speeds, now trying to cross the finish line at high speeds as well. It seems that speed seems to be on the menu for her, and I do think that with that kind of added experience, with the level of competition that can actually be presented by our promotional class drivers, sometimes we do see that the level of competition, or at least the competitiveness from each other, could actually be those that rival those in the super sporting class.
Yeah, right now on your screens in car number 26, you can see actor, television host, and Hot FM radio presenter Imran Akil behind the wheel. And just behind him is going to be, I believe, Ayn Idris in the car number 9. They're coming out right now, just having finished their out lap. So let's see whether or not they'll be able to set some good times. And, you know, all across the board, you know, we're seeing these people having had experience as actors and hosts, you know, on television here. Now they're going to be kind of putting themselves out there, really, coming into this race here. Now, here's the rivalry that we want to see here in the promotion class. Zizan Razak versus Shukri Yahya. Shukri leading in front there in the car number 24. Car number 15 is Zizan Razak. He's taking the toe off of him very aggressively in this lap. And let's see whether or not he'll be able to continue, whether or not he'll be able to consistently jostle each other for position here when it comes to this qualifying session. But I digress, though. Another dark horse that we have to watch out for, of course, is Ahiruddin in car number 37. She's already set the fastest time of 127.9, which is good enough for a second place provisionally right now. Just only behind where Zizan Razak is in the 127.3. But we know from past experience that Ahiruddin can definitely do a lot more, because she actually has a personal best, if I can just pull up the numbers here, a personal best of 127.668. So she can definitely find a lot more time here. Let's see whether or not she'll be able to put it together for this lap. But Shukri Yahya and Zizan Razak continue to push on here, just constantly being bumped to the bumper, coming down towards turns 5 and 6, and they're just going to continue doing this all throughout qualifying, I think.
Bumper to bumper, wheel to wheel, we have seen it going head to head here for a lot of our drivers in the past. And with Zizan Razak now still holding on top position of 127, as well as Ahiruddin. I feel that with our 4 previous seasons competitors in Ahiruddin, Zizan Razak, Shukri Yahya, as well as Ayn Idris, they are definitely going to be the biggest winners in terms of experience here. But then again, we have seen it time and time again that newer drivers may actually bring out the best in terms of the experienced drivers, because they may have to act as gatekeepers here to make sure that they maintain those top positions. If not, the newer drivers would actually put them up against the rope, so to speak.
The thing is that, you know, when there's a huge amount of talent just bursting at the seams right now, you can only gatekeep for so long before the floodgates will start to open up, and we're already kind of seeing this here. Ahiruddin has just set a 127.313. That means she is not only the fastest right now in this session, this has been the fastest she's ever done in a promotional class qualifying session here at the Sabang North track. So she's just continuing to improve like season after season, and I think she might be shaping herself up to become a contender this time around.
Yeah, I have seen her progress throughout the seasons, and I feel that Ahiruddin, from being in the lower half of the standings to slowly being a quality to spoiling some of the progress of some of our drivers here, seems to be that Ahiruddin may actually be the favorite here in terms of the female drivers on the promotional class to actually get a higher podium standing.
I mean, she might even follow in the footsteps of Diana Danielle, who won the promotional class in season 3. So, you know, we might be seeing another female champion here in this promotional class if Ahiruddin can just keep this up. But, you know, with Zizan and Shukri Yahya also being in the 127 club here, you know that she's going to be facing a lot of stiff competition this time around. No less due to the fact that both of those guys, they've been competing since season 1. They know exactly how to, you know, handle the level of pressure. Ahiruddin is the newcomer in this regard, so how is she going to be handling during the race? I guess we'll be finding out.
Green Rahim, a new name, definitely a name that we are not familiar on the racetrack, but familiar in the hearts of many Malaysians here. A very, very talented actress that has been everywhere in media, and I do feel that people are going to be watching very closely in terms of her overall performance here in the promotional class.
Yeah, I mean, she very much is interested in promoting a healthy lifestyle to all of her fans as followers as well, and it's no surprise that she's trying to take up this motorsport itself, because it can be a very grueling activity, to be fair, but it does require a lot of physical effort. It requires a lot of concentration, a lot of training just to be able to maintain focus over a long period of time. And certainly, if you want to be, if you want to become the Renaissance man, so to speak, one who can, who is good in all aspects of life, this is probably a good place in order to try to get that started with. So let's see what she'll be able to do. So far, this is her debut season, so I don't usually want to kind of put too much pressure on these guys, especially given this is going to be the first year of competition. But given that they're already consistently putting 131s, there's a lot of room for improvement. So I think whoever is going to be able to get themselves adapt it to the car as quickly as it can and start putting in times in the 129s, even the 128s especially, then, it's really a race to see who's going to be able to shrink down those margins.
I think the biggest name here in terms of, not to say biggest name, excuse me, the newest name to be able to score one of the best times here is Ezrin Loy, surprising all of us here with 128 and already in 4th position. Very close by to Zizan Razak, and it seems that this year Zizan Razak may actually have to keep his guard up here and not be kept up against the ropes here, because Ahrin Arudin, Shukri Yahya are being the competitive the most competitive in our promotional classes, are showing to everyone at home the reason why they are maintaining positions 1 and 2 with very good times.
Yeah, Ezrin's that's actually an impressive time for his first time out here in qualifying. And actually looking at his background as well, it's no surprise that he is very good at focus, because he is a golfer himself. Which is is one of the most favorite pastimes of F1 drivers of the season. So he's kind of fitting the mold a little bit in terms of becoming a motorsport person, let's put it that way.
Well, it seems that he is fitting the mold very, very well indeed here. But his times, though, may actually have to be improved upon. I do feel that it, like we've said, like me and Matthew said in the previous round, in the previous qualifying, that a lot of the younger drivers actually took a little bit of time here, a few rounds in the previous season to actually find their footing. And could this be the case here for a lot of our newer drivers in this promotional class? But it seems that Ezrin Loy is breaking that mold here, being able to score a really good time and being able to at least maintain 4th position really well, putting Ayn Edrus here in a 6th position, just behind Hefni Sahad. Hefni Sahad, yes.
So, but here's the thing though, because Ezrin's pace is like this, right? And no one else is able to kind of match him from, below him, and he is not likely to be breaking into 127s anytime soon. I fear that what's going to happen during the race is that he's going to be in an island of his own. The guys in front of him is just going to pull away from him, and the guys behind cannot keep up. So essentially, he's just going to be running solo there. And I think the goal for him right now is that if he does qualify in 4th place, is to be able to maintain that position during the race, maintain that track position, and finish in 4th place. And I think that's going to be the best bet for him. Maybe if he is lucky enough to avoid any drama in the front, let's say if Shukri and Zizan get into another tangle, just like they have done time and time again in past seasons, especially the last round of Season 5 where things were so chaotic. If Ezrin can just maintain a very clean race there, he might even be in position to take a podium.
Yes, and that's going to be the case for our drivers here. I mean, we have seen it time and time again, the tangles that have very much flustered Zizan Razak in the past, as well as being the flustering factor for Zizan Razak, but it seems to be a factor that was a blessing for Shukri Yahya, was able to actually steal positions away from Zizan Razak in the previous seasons, and we have seen it over and over again for some of these drivers. Here we see Shaidatul Afifa in position number 9, still getting used to what has been a very hot day indeed. I mean, we saw we did see earlier on the track heat, the track temperature is already at 33 degrees Celsius already, and I think The usual record highs in the afternoons, also heading towards the evenings, about 40, 42 degrees Celsius, close to 45 degrees Celsius here on really, really hot days. So you do know that it's just going to melt those tires up like butter with the friction as well as the heat.
It's not just the tires. You had to remember these drivers are all wearing thick fireproof racing suits, and those they get very hot, you know, especially in these cabins that are usually not air conditioned. That's why you can see a lot of these drivers will have the window like open, just a crack of it, just get some air inside. Otherwise it's going to be very hot, very stuffy inside the car, especially under these race dry conditions. Nevertheless though, Ain Edrus is looking to try and improve upon her time here. She made her debut last season in the TGR Malaysia. Now she's coming into a second year competition, and I'm really hopeful to see whether or not she has taken anything that she can have learned from last season into this season, and hopefully become one of the competitors right now in this promotional class. Last lap that she went through, 130.1, so just about a tenth away from being able to break into the 129s there. So let's see if she can keep it up.
And we do see here with close to half the qualifying time left at 16 minutes, it is going to be rather imperative for some of our drivers here to improve their positioning. Zizan Razak already keeping up with what has been alluded to in the past here, holding on to its pole position with a time of 127.181. Irene Aridin now 127.313. Shukri Yaya 127.354. And it seems that Shukri Yaya fell down a little bit here from first position down to third position, with Irene Aridin and Zizan Razak now changing hands in terms of their positioning.
And also, yeah, it's interesting that Zizan ended up in front of Shukri when he was following behind him for most of the qualifying session, which, you know what that kind of tells me? It tells me that maybe Zizan was using this session here to keep close eyes on Shukri, to see what kind of line he's taking, to see what he can try to improve, and I think he's taken a lot of that in order to be able to make that time of 127.181. So right now he is a provisional pole sitter, and having actually tied for the overall champion in season 5 there with Nabil Ahmad, he's definitely looking to add another feather to his cap here. And boy oh boy, if he does make a grand slam here in this first race itself, by not only starting from pole position but winning it outright, might be setting himself up for a very good case of why he should be the two-time champion in this promotional class.
Yes, I do think that what we have in store for our drivers, for our fans at home, for the promotional class is definitely surprises in terms of not only the usual standings of our readily established names in Toyota Gazoo Racing's promotional class, Zizan Razak, Ahirin Aridin, Shukri Yahya, as well as Ain Idrus, but also Ezrin Loy, Hefni Sahad, Imran Akil, Reen Rahim, and Shaidatul Afifa. A lot more female representation on the track, and I'm really, really happy to see that. I think it's almost equal number of men and women on the track, and that just goes to show that with the progenitors of the female racers in the promotional class, names like Jana Nek paving the way forward. Jana Nek, Ahirin Arudin, Ain Idrus, paving the way forward for a lot of our female drivers. We're seeing more and more celebrities, female celebrities actually get themselves involved in motorsports, and that is always a welcome prospect.
Yeah, I mean, again, not to forget Diana Danielle's win overall proves that women can just be as competitive as the men here in motorsports. So let's see whether or not this is going to be happening yet again. I think the chances are very high given the level of performance we're seeing from Ahirin and the improvements that Ain Idrus is showing so far. Hefni Sahat, he's going to try his very best to improve. Right now, he is setting a 129.169. Just close enough to try to beat into the 128s, but not quite there yet. Still out on track right now, trying to search for more performance here in his Toyota Vios. But I digress though. The thing about the promotional class drivers is that unlike some of the other pro drivers in the other classes here, these guys don't typically have the very strict training regimen, the kind of like amount of time invested on track there to kind of improve their driving performance. These guys are, in some sense, part-time drivers in a way, so they literally have to use every single session efficiently here in order to build up their knowledge on how to like effectively use the Vios platform, to understand the limits of this car, and to understand also how to gain time and where they may be losing time. A lot of these things can be very difficult to come to grips with when you don't have the level of support. That's why Toyota Gazoo Racing has provided them plenty of driver coaches, to be able to teach them exactly how to be fast on track and what things to do, what things not to do. They provide them with top very skilled mechanics there to make sure that the cars are perfectly set up and ready for them to just race in whatever condition it's like, and constantly just getting feedback, giving feedback to their pit crews, making sure that whatever goes on with the car is like perfect to their condition, making sure that everything is in tip-top shape. So a lot of these things they have to just basically get to grips with and hit the ground running, so to speak.
And I want to add on to that a little bit for what you just said here, Victor, in terms of our drivers' performances across the board, and the fact that a lot of our promotional class, not a lot, all of them have different commitments, as well as very harsh time constraints in terms of schedules. And I do have to say that using those time constraints well to make sure that training is efficient and being able to absorb much just goes to show that despite very, very tight schedules, for a lot of our celebrity drivers in the promotional class, they still make the time to be able to not only get the physical training done as well, but the mental preparation as well, the technical understanding of what needs to be done on the track. Whether they're able to implement it on a race day is, of course, differing from person to person, whether it's at super sporting all the way down to rookie classes. But then again, I digress. For a lot of these drivers here, it's also a matter of just not only having fun, but proving to themselves. I mean, I think one of those really good feel-good moments was, I think it was Nabila Razali that just couldn't believe that she was so close to podium, and she was like, basically just taken aback by her performance in the previous season. I think it was in season 5 or season 4, if I'm not mistaken. And we could see that with that level of, with that spirit there, for spirit of competition, and the fact that it's always a great surprise to see yourself perform well. I just can't wait to see more feel-good moments like that being experienced by a lot of our drivers here. But a lot of them still having a lot of high spirits here, regardless of the results, because fun is still had at the end of the day.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like, this is the most fun you can ever have at Toyota Vios, really. Just going out there, pushing yourself on the racetrack, and just really competing with other like-minded individuals. But then, given like the time constraints that a lot of these celebrity drivers have to face, it just underscores as well the importance of having a lot of experience in this field. That's why drivers like Zizan Raza and Shukri Yaya have been consistently on top of the board, because they've been competing for a very long time in TGR. Zizan, I believe, has been since season 1, so you can imagine the wealth of knowledge, the wealth of information he's gathered over the years now, and just being able to put it all together here and just come out of the bat here, taking a provisional pole, it just goes to show how much higher in skill level he's become now in this season of racing. So, in any case, though, like when we look at what these other drivers have to contend with here, because the celebrity drivers have other commitments as well besides being on the racetrack. Some of the drivers, like last year, Wani Hasrita, immediately after finishing her race, she had to quickly change out of her coveralls, run all the way to the stage, and start performing her songs live. Can you imagine how stressful that kind of situation is? You're not done even after you're finished on the racetrack. You still have to do even more stuff after the race.
I guess the responsibilities of performers are definitely something that we have to really take into heavy consideration here. To be able to have 20 laps done, as well as get rid of your coveralls and switch over to your performance gear is definitely something to salute for sure for a lot of drivers. Shai Dato Afifa here in vehicle 91. yet to be able to break past the 131 mark, as well as Rin Rahim. But Imran Akil, as well as Imran Akil, Hefni Sahad, and Ezrin Loy, still very much impressive in terms of their timings. But still, I think the biggest, most impressive performance overall from our newcomers is definitely Ezrin Loy.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, going into the 128s already on his debut is already impressive in itself. 128 is basically the level of the average level of drivers in the promotional class anyway. So to see that he's already hitting the ground running that well is definitely exciting to see. But even for those drivers who aren't able to break the time yet, you know, it is still fine to even be in the 121s right now, because at the very least, oh boy, that's looking a little bit messy there for Aina Trus. At the very least, you already have a baseline for where you stand right now at the beginning of the season. And because as we continue to run more rounds here, we're still coming back to the same track over and over again. There's going to be more experience they will gain eventually that will allow them to improve on their time, and we'll be seeing basically how much improvement they will get by the time we get to the last round of Season 6.
And that's the thing. We have said it time and time again in the past and alluded to it with much spirit, me and Matthews, that yes, pole position is definitely something to write home about. But oh, look at that though. We do see vehicle number 9 there. In a little bit of trouble for Ain Idris, but it shows her experience though. Recovered really well from it.
Yeah, I just fear that, like, because I think she just ran over a curb there, or rather on the concrete blocks that's out on the outside of the track there. I hope that didn't really upset the car too much or damage the suspension. Meantime, bit of a tussle right now. Hefni Sahad giving some way there to allow Shukri Yahya through, and he will be able to take the racing line on the next one. It's getting a little bit crowded right now with only just over 5 minutes left in qualifying here, so you can definitely tell that some of these drivers now are just itching to get a little bit of a taste of what it would be like in the race later on, when they're going to be close up together, you know, taking the slipstream off of each other and trying to strategize where to place a car in order to make these overtakes. And you're going to see Zizan and Shukri doing a little bit of a dry run, I think, for the racing we'll be seeing later on today.
Yeah, and we're going to be seeing here from a lot of our drivers, preparation is definitely has been done really well, specifically for Zizan Razak, Ahirin Aridin, and Shukri Yahya, as well as Idrus. Not much information in terms of Ezrin Loy, Hefni Sahad, Shidato, Afifa, and Rin Rahim's personal preparations in this, but we will have to wait for the break to actually speak to some of the newer drivers to find out what their preparations have been moving into the tournament, moving into the race day. So I do think that with 4 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock for these drivers, it is a matter of getting those times, getting those seconds shaved off here. I believe it was 125, if I'm not mistaken, in the super sporting class, right?
Yeah, super sporting class are all kind of like breaking into 125s already. Super sporting, you generally want to be within a 10th or 2 or 126, and some of the rookie drivers have been able to do that. Promotional class is kind of where getting into the 127 is already fantastic. Like, I mean, again, Zizan, Ahiri, and Shukri, they're all in the 127 club, and it's no surprise that they're right now in the top 3, but that's also a consequence just having a lot more experience compared to the other drivers here, having competed in past seasons of the TGR. So if they can break into the 126, that might even be grounds for them to get promoted to the sporting class. Zizan did get a little bit of a taste of that. Didn't quite like it though, unfortunately, and went back to the promotional class not long after. But it just goes to show that it's still there's still plenty of skills here between all these drivers here, and just being able to stay above the rest of your competition is already good enough.
I think for Zizan Razak, he did taste a little bit of a higher competition here, and I think that if I remember overhearing him say, I think he did need a little bit more experience in the promotional class before he wanted to make that jump. So looking at it though, the intention for him to go into higher levels of competition is definitely there, but according to his own conversation with one of the other Toyota staff, he just needs a little bit more time to cook the broth to the perfect taste, and definitely looking forward to seeing how Zizan Razak is going to be performing here. I think we were able to see one of the other promotional drivers do very well in some of the higher sporting classes. I think it was Sean Lee, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, right. I think he was definitely one of the names that we have to consider here moving forward in terms of his overall trajectory into the sporting class.
I mean, Sean has been the only promotional class driver to have 2 overall champions, so he's already kind of like graduated in that sense, you know, as a competitor. But I think Zizan will definitely benefit a lot from, you know, competing in other series of motorsports. He has competed in the Vios Enduro Cup, that's part of the S1K, and actually has quite a good run in that. But I would love to see him, you know, compete as well in the MSF, the MCS, just gain all these experiences, because all those kind of experiences do add up. And we've seen, like, with drivers like Mitchell Chia, you know, he had the experience of just going to Europe to compete in the Touring Car Championship, and the level of competition in Europe is so much higher compared to Malaysia. So by the time he came back to Malaysia to continue competing in the local scene, he's already leveled up, so to speak, when it comes to his personal driving skill. So I want to see the drivers like Zizan Raza and Shuki Yahya, the possibilities within motorsport itself, and just gather a lot more knowledge, experience through those endeavors.
With 90 seconds left on the clock, we have about one more final lap to go. I think it's a practice lap as well as one final lap, as checkered flag is going to be waved off. So it is going to be the final bit of dusting here to get the best times for our promotional class drivers here. Any changes you feel on the horizon for our top 3 here before we move forward into the next, into covering the highlights as well as getting the results?
I don't think it's going to be likely, because these guys have kind of split up a little bit. They kind of like widened the gaps between each other on the track, so I don't think anyone will be taking tolls soon. Though I do see the car number 1, Shaidatu Afifa, as well as car number 66, Hefni Sahad, a little bit close to each other going through turns 5 and 6. But I don't expect to see these guys have any dramatic improvements in time here. I think for the most part, this closing moment here is just going to be one last shot for them to just pass. Beside that point, you know, nothing else matters for these guys.
Nothing else definitely matters, either of them, but the best time available. We do see some of them getting back into the pits, and I think one of them are able to get one more full lap before we get the official results. Now let's follow. I'm thinking that for Shaidatu Afifa as well as Rin Rahim, not entirely too happy with their positionings, but then again, could be a race. It could be a whole different set of circumstances that could propel them forward.
Yeah, I think, like, for sure when the actual race itself, I will predict they will have a dramatic improvement. When they're going to be able to see other drivers around them and kind of like mirror their lines or where the braking points are. Slowly but surely, they will gain a lot more knowledge from the actual racing compared to the qualifying session here. Qualifying for these new drivers, these drivers who are debuting this season alone, you know, you don't really have to put too much pressure on that. You don't really have to put too much value on it, except to know that this is where their baseline is. This is their starting point. This is their building block. They're going to slowly stack even more blocks on top of it, and eventually, hopefully, they'll be able to become a top midfield contender.
Yeah, and I think the biggest winner overall here in terms of performance outside of the podium is definitely Ezrin Loy. I do like what he has been able to bring to the table in terms of his overall performances. Is definitely going to be something to actually, how to say, to write home about here. First ever outing, was able to come pretty close here, 128.622. But it seems that Shukri Yahya, Irene Aridin, and Azizan Raza will be holding on to the podium in positions 1, 2, and 3 for them respectively. Ezrin Loy is going to be position number 4. P5 is going to go to Hefni Sahad, and Ain Idris, Imran Akil, Shaidatu Afifa, and Rin Rahim will be making our bottom half of the standings.
Yep, so that is the official qualifying done, and that's dusted now
for the promotional class. Let's go ahead and have a look at some of the highlights of this qualifying session here. You can definitely feel that a lot of these drivers are just very excited to get things started here in Season 6. They're already coming out very strong out of the gate. I'm so impressed to see that our returning drivers in the promotional class, Shukri Yahya, Zizan Raza, and Ahirin Ahiruddin already getting themselves into the 127 club and will certainly bring a lot of spark and excitement when it comes to the race later on. But for everyone else, it's been a moment to kind of like to see where they truly stand amongst the very best here in the promotional class, and knowing that, you know, as time goes on, as the season rolls on, these guys will continue to get faster and faster and faster. So who knows where they might end up by the end of Season 6.
And I do believe that Zizan Razak actually came into the Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival a little bit later on. I think it was in Season 4 or Season 5, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm just speaking from memory, could be Season 4 or Season 5, but I do feel that for his overall performances here, he's definitely one of the highest, not the highest, quickest in terms of progression here. But looking at how Ezrin Loy is actually performing here, he could be shades of Zizan Raza on his first day coming into the Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival, and this could goes to show that given enough time and of course given enough commitment into the practice, we could see that we might have a new steady face in the podium here in the form of Ezrin Loy, provided all the stars align for him.
I mean, again, like setting 128 in your first time out, that's already kind of setting yourself up to have a lot of potential. So let's see whether or not he's going to be able to shape that into a diamond here, or is it still going to be in the rough here for Ezran Loy. But I digress though. That is the end of promotional qualifying right now. I hope you guys at home had kind of enjoyed watching these guys going out there, pushing themselves to the limit. But unfortunately, how things have come to end a little bit, didn't it?
Well, move your world with Toyota, because we have quite a bit more in store for you. Want to see what we have in store in the pits? Will we find out what our celebrities thought about their performances? I think Nas is about to get ready for that, Victor, and I can't wait to see what he has in store for us. So for those of you at home, we're going to be passing it over to Nas. Nas, over to you.
Thank you very much, casters. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Victor Cax. And I am truly surprised at the performance of last season's third place winner, which is Ahirin Ahiruddin. Suddenly, she stepped up gear, and in Season 6, she means business, giving Ziza Raza a run for his money. Of course, Ziza Raza qualifying in first place, second place Ahirin Ahiruddin, and third place Shukri Yahya, former champion. So it's going to be tight with our other rookies from the promotional class giving a strong fight as well, from Ezrin Loy as well as Hefni Sa'ad. So we'll just find out soon enough how they will do at race day 1. Meanwhile, we're going to be speaking to our Prince of Drift, also Toyota Gazoo Racing Ambassador Tengku Janlay, is racing for Prima Pearl Auto once again. Man, you took a look at the promotional race just now, and you know some of them are having fun, some of them are really competitive. And Zizan, many people have been asking, Zizan Raza, he should be stepping up his gear to the next class, move up in terms of skill. What do you think, looking at him for the past 2 seasons?
Well, Zizan has done a great job. So last year we had him as a driver in the Sprint Cup series.
Okay.
And he outperformed himself. So I believe he can actually do it, but it comes down to his mental state as well, because when you come down to sporting, super sporting, everyone is super competitive. So it's how he holds up, you know. If he can do it, I think he'll do well.
You think he'll do well, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so that's the sentiment from the professional himself. But speaking about professionalism, we've just witnessed the qualifying times for super sporting class. So I'm really impressed with the Excel Motorsports boys. But Prima Pearl, Mitchell Cha is at 5th place, and you yourself coming in 10th position. A lot of people are asking, is this tactic, or is there something wrong with the car, or something wrong with Tengku Jan today? So let's ask the man himself. What say you?
We have been actually struggling with the car since middle of last year. Well, fortunate enough, last year we had a lot of wet weather. So that's the equalizer. But coming today, you know, it's a complete dry track and the performance is lagging. We're looking at the data and we can see that we're actually losing speed down the straight. So hence why the lap times pretty down, but you know, I mean, racing is racing. Anything can happen. It's start of the season, so I'm still very optimistic. And of course, the race doesn't end until the checkered flag.
Exactly. That's what I was meaning to say. Race is not over until the checkered flag swings, and many competitors out there going, "Can we really trust the Gujana? Is this just his goreng? You know, he's just trying to put us down, giving us some semangat. Suddenly he'll whack race one." So, what do you think of that?
Well, it's a tough call. Tough call. But again, I mean, the race format is great where you have a reverse grid for race 2.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like, for example, me now starting in 10th place, if I can finish in 6th, that will put me in pole for race 2. So, again, you know, it's a mental game and a strategy game and see how we play it out.
Now, this is something that the Gujan has a bit of a lead, lah. You know, when we talk about race management. So, we're looking forward to what Prima Pearl Auto will be doing this time around.
Thank you,
Dan. And we missed you in race 1 last season, so I think he's coming back and making an impact, hopefully for season 6.
Definitely.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tengku Janle, and he's all pumped up for race 1, season 6. Are you guys pumped up as well? And I think our racecasters are preparing themselves as we head into the pits once again. And let's take a look at the preparations for qualifying sessions for sporting class. So we've got some rookies who've already transferred up to the sporting class. How will they fare alongside all the other professionals out there? We'll just have to wait and see. It's back to our casters. Over to you guys. Job done right here.
And we're back. Welcome back for our final qualifying of the day. So what's in store for you guys is that we're going to be recapping we're going to be just talking a little bit about what happened beforehand. And we're going to be talking a little bit about what is in store in our sporting class with some of the facts that have been prepared by Victor, our race analyst. And of course, thank you very much to Nas for just breaking it down for us, getting some really good insight with Tengku Janle just now. And I felt that that is definitely going to add a little bit more, know-how for those at home in terms of what's in store and as well as what's needed for you to be able to just get on the track and get started.
I mean, Jan is aside from being a legend, he's probably one of the most knowledgeable guys when it comes to this field of motorsports here in Malaysia. I mean, the guy has basically been part of Proton R3 since a long time ago. He's been racing in so many different categories of motorsport, and now he's trying to set up another piece of his legacy here in the Toyota Gazoo Racing series. But nevertheless, though, now that we're going to be going to the sporting class, this is going to be where things are going to be a lot more interesting because Super Sporting class represents the professional drivers. It's kind of a league of their own here. Promotional class is also kind of the same deal, but sporting class is where things are a lot more open. You have a lot more independent entries coming into this competition here, but you also have pro drivers looking to try to make their mark in this class here before moving up to a higher tier competition. And that's something we're going to have to watch out for here in Season 6 because we have plenty of drivers here.
And I think it is fair to think of it as like a semi-professional, so to speak. I mean, can it be considered semi-professional in layman's terms? And I do feel that sporting class is where the up-and-comers definitely grit their teeth and basically scrape their knees in terms of them getting their start here. And a lot of young upstarts were able to actually build their resume within the sporting class.
Yeah.
And before they made that move on to sporting class.
Yeah, we're talking about drivers like Nakib Aslan, who we remember last season completely dominated the field in sporting class and immediately earned his promotion to super sporting. Hayden Haikal as well. He'd been competing in sporting class since forever, really. I think since season 2 onwards. And the guy has finally made his way to super sporting class and actually took overall champion last year, clinching it as a dark horse in the competition. So there's a lot. And the thing is that as much as you like to take sporting class as a kind of semi-professional competition, the fact that the prize pool is the highest prize pool of any motorsport event here in the last 5 years just means that as far as semi-professional competitions go, this is probably one of the biggest ones. this is one of the most prestigious open competitions here for stock car racing in Malaysia. So even if you may consider it semi-professional, I can guarantee you everyone in this competition is going to be gunning for the top anyway, and it's going to be very, very stiff, especially when you know that this is one of the biggest fields here in the Toyota Gazoo Racing series. So a lot of people in this series alone, it's going to take a lot to really stand out from the pack.
And I think with 3 minutes to the opening, to the exit of the pit opening up, cars, all vehicles are actually lining up towards the fast lane here and heading towards the pit exit. And I guess it is going to be very, very interesting to see who is determined to get that pole position here. 30 minutes going to be on the clock, and willy-nilly they are going to come zooming out of the pit to get the best time available.
Yeah, so red flag is still up, meaning they will only stop at the pit zone area before the green flag and the siren is blared out to allow them to come out on track. But, you know, speaking about the drivers you have to watch out for, I mean, there's two that I'm really keeping an eye on, because these two, I think, represent sort of like the conundrum that some of these top drivers in the sporting class kind of face. One in particular is Bradley Benedict Anthony, who drives for Crestmat Motorsport in car number 55. In Season 3, he finished 2nd overall. In Season 4, he finished 3rd overall. Season 5, he did the same thing, finished 3rd overall. Always falling short of taking the overall champion in the sporting class. And that's not for lack of trying. He had won multiple races, in fact, in the sporting class. He's won 3 times. You know, in Season 3, he won in Batukawan. In the Sepang North track here since Season 4, he's won here twice already. So one wonders.
Penang, if I'm not mistaken, right? Was definitely one of the more unfriendlier tracks. Not the unfriendlier tracks. I think it's the more how to say, it doesn't have a very low barrier of entry for less experienced drivers here, considering how some of the turns were very sharp, and some of the biggest collisions happened at Batukawan, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was either Batukawan or the one at the airfield, if I'm not mistaken. It's either one of those two, and we have seen time and time again that those that were able to come out unscathed from Batukawan definitely will be able to race with much better conditions here, provided the conditions of the track at the Sepang International Circuit North Paddock.
Yeah, but here's the thing as well, you know, kind of hopping off of that point there, you know, about the street tracks being a lot more difficult to drive on, even for experienced drivers. The thing is that there are drivers like Kenneth Cole, for example. You know, he has experienced a lot of success when it comes to the street tracks. He has won in the MAPES Kuala Lumpur race back in Season 2. He also won the Kuala Terengganu race back in Season 3 as well. But ever since we've moved to the Sepang North track, it seems like he's struggled really to find a performance. In Season 4, he finished 6th overall. Season 5, he finished 6th overall as well. And that's a far cry from Seasons 1 to 3, where he was able to consistently get himself in the top 5. So one wonders, you know, is there here? It's kind of a big question that, you know, he has to kind of answer, I think, in this season.
Quite the dichotomy you brought up indeed, and I feel that it could actually reflect on the fact that some of these drivers could actually be struggling way more on the Sepang North track, more so than street tracks. Maybe it's the difference of the tires that are involved, or maybe the street, street tracks may require a little bit more caution compared to. Let us look at what at least has been tabulated thus far in terms of times. 126, 127, 131 here across the board for some of our drivers here. For Nabila Razali, 126, Tami Mitahang, 127, Wanchin Egg, 127 as well. We may see some of the other drivers here may be able to score up better timings here, but until the majority of other drivers have been able to cross the finish line, we can only wait to see what are the tabulated scores.
Yeah,
Times, excuse me.
While we wait for them to continue to set their time here, let's talk a little bit about some of the new entries that have come into the sporting class here. Particularly, Nabila Razali is probably the most exciting one because he was a rookie last season. Now he has made the jump to the sporting class here, and look at him. He's already neck to neck with Bradley Benedict in terms of time, 126.8 compared to Bradley's 126.7. So he's going to be very, very competitive here as the Axel Motorsports driver here. Another driver is going to be new to this field here. It's going to be Abdul Mikhail, who's going to be driving for 23 Motors. Distinctive model is also bringing in Aaron Haikal to the table here. Super Evergreen Motorsport has brought in Muhammad Amirul Haikal, and Todak Wheelstar Motorsport. This is an exciting entry here. Todak is also dipping their toes now fully into Toyota Gazoo Racing, and they brought in Muhammad Alif Shauki to be their driver for this season.
And that could be the case for some of these drivers to get as much experience as they can here. For a lot of them, there hasn't been that much changes here from some of our drivers moving up or down, moving up in terms of classes, in terms of categories. We do see that I think Nabila Razali was one of the names that has been that's been moved from the rookie classes all the way to sporting classes in recent memory. I think it was far back as season 4 or season 5, if I'm not mistaken, where he has been moved up. But Bradley Benedict now being able to clock in 126, and we are seeing that Nabila Razali and Bradley Benedict here, a difference of 60th of a second.
60 milliseconds, that's like barely enough for like a pulse even.
Yeah.
Kenneth Cole as well, getting himself quite up there as well, by time 126.771. That's enough to put himself in third place ahead of Abdul Mikhail. So that's exciting news here for the Panglima City Racing team, whom he has been driving for since the very beginning, and again has been looking for, to be able to cap off this career here by getting the overall champion in the sporting class. Might be setting himself up for a good case for that. If only he can try to get past Bradley Benedict right now, who is finding himself a little bit lower down. Oh, okay. I think Nabila Razali has just got a lap time to lead it, so Bradley Benedict is back up the provisional pole here. But with them already setting a 126.3, that's already a very, very high bar there for everyone in the sporting class in order to try to match here. And that's going to be quite a tall order.
And it is going to be a tall order indeed. Bradley Benedict here, another name that we are very familiar with as well. His brother in the super sporting class as well, if I'm not mistaken, right? So a family that 29th of a second, just 100th of a second ahead of Bradley Benedict. Those margins are almost impossible to make up.
Wow, I mean, again, 23 Motors have been consistently, gunning for them. Mikhail is going to be the one carrying the torch for them this season. We've setting a 126.1. Wow, that's already putting a huge, huge statement here from 23 Motors to the rest of the field here that, we're here to go for the win no matter what.
And that's a key. Mikhail here from 23 Motors, as you have said beforehand, holding on towards that top pole position with 126. But then again, we are only 8 minutes in, with 22 minutes left on the board. It could be that Abdul Mikhail's run at the top could be short-lived.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the only other two people who are close enough within 0.2 of a second is both Bradley Benedict as well as Amirul Haikal, actually, who also was able to get himself up to provisional second place early on, putting himself between Bradley as well as Nabila Razali. So it's already looking like a very, very competitive top step of the board leaderboard here for these drivers, and I'm expecting that things will continue to shrink down. We still got a lot of time in qualifying here, plenty of time for these drivers to try to find extra tenths or two on track here to improve so much more. But who is going to be the next one to strike a blow here in the sporting class? I mean, there's plenty of names to go around here. Kenneth is still stuck in the 126.7 ahead of Muhammad Shafiq in car number 88. These two guys did tangle a little bit last season, and it's kind of interesting to see that yet again this season we're going to be likely seeing the two of them butt heads once more during the races.
The first 6 drivers here in the top 6 positions, from Abdul Mikhail down to Shafiq, are averaging a time of 126, whereas the middle of the pack here, from position 7, Tamimi Tahang's position, all the way down to Amir Mirza, 127 across the board here. I mean, it may seem like a small number, 1 second is, but in motorsports, that 1 second feels like an eternity for most drivers here in terms of the distance between them. And I do feel that with what we are being presented with in terms of the times that have been tabulated in the first 10 minutes alone, goes to show that our sporting class is definitely one of the more competitive and densely packed number of competitors on the circuit for sure.
Yeah, a lot of hopefuls here. I mean, getting a success in this sporting class, which is practically an open class here in TGR, is quite a big deal, you know. So that's why a lot of these drivers are constantly coming in season after season to just try their luck and to try to push themselves up the top. But certainly, you know, when you have these prodigies like Nabila Razali, like Bradley Benedict, Abdul Mikhail, these young drivers who are just putting themselves above a lot of like the veteran drivers here, it can be a very tough competition indeed for this class. But nevertheless though, Abdul Mikhail strikes yet another blow, 126.129, so continuing to maintain his top spot here compared to everyone else. Right now I want to see whether or not Bradley or Amirul are going to be competing against that. Nabi Aslan takes a trip to the pits right now to see whether he can try to adjust for his next stint here. There's still 19 minutes left of qualifying here, ladies and gentlemen, so there's still plenty of time for these drivers to get some last-minute pep talks or perhaps last-minute setups here, setup changes really to try to gain the extra bit of an advantage. But for now, Abdul Mikhail is certainly flying very, very high right now, still putting himself consistently to the 126 here, so is he going to be able to improve his time here, or will someone else challenge him for the crown? We'll have to see.
And I think for what we are seeing on the board here, 126 still maintained across the board for Mikhail, Bradley, Amirul, Nabil Aslan, Kenneth Ko, and Shafiq. And I do think that with the lack of changes here, it seems that most of the drivers are not to say comfortable with those times, are not able to break past those times yet thus far. So no changes yet at the 18-minute mark. We are almost halfway through with 15 minutes left on the board before we close out our final qualifying of the day. We'll be taking a short break after this qualifying before we get into the race. So for those of you who have a full Saturday open today, we have so many activities in store for you at home in terms of what to watch. For those of you who are in attendance as well, we do hope that you are patient and you are able to at least get some of those pictures with your favorite celebrities, with your favorite races, and most importantly, to stay updated with everything related to Toyota Gazoo Racing, to follow all of our social media platforms.
Yep, and don't forget, like, it's going to be a 2-day race. It's a whole weekend here of racing in Toyota Gazoo on Sepang. So make sure you guys tune in both today as well as tomorrow to see the conclusion of round number 1. But more than that point, there will be more races throughout the year as well. So make sure you guys follow the Toyota Gazoo Racing Malaysia Facebook page, because that's going to be the best way you'll be able to be notified whenever these new events drop here for Toyota Gazoo Racing. And you certainly don't want to miss any last bit of the action here. Shafiq Samsudin, or Mohammed Shafiq, is driving yet again car number 88, this time racing for Race Rally KL. Right now he is currently sitting 6th overall there with a time of 126.988. I believe he hasn't quite improved on that quite yet, getting himself all the way to the ragged edge of that track limit over there. Let's see whether or not he will get an improvement in time as he comes across there. Not quite, still a 127.212, so still looking to try and improve, but still about 3/10 off of his personal best right now in this session.
And I think that between Mikhail and Bradley Benedict, both of them still holding on to that top position. Amirul Haikal and Nabil Aslan gunning for that third position is Nabil Aslan, but Amirul Haikal still holding on really well, acting as a fourth here, maintaining 126.366 of a second. Kaneko from Panglima City Racing team, best lap of 126.771, still not able to hit past the 126.771 mark. Maybe his next few laps could spell different fortune here. Fortune does favor the bull, as I have said in the past, and could Kenneth Cole be bold enough to propel himself forward with better time?
One thing I love right now about this season here is that the times just basically been closer and closer to each other year after year, and this, I think, looking at the qualifying times here, is probably one of the most closely contended qualifying sessions I've seen so far in TGR, because all these drivers are just separated from each other by distances of about a tenth, 2 tenths, 3 tenths at most, and that's exactly what I like to see. You know, the margins being so close there that even a little slip up, a tiny slip up, is already going to make a massive difference to your actual race time here. So right now, it's so competitive here in the sporting class, and I love this. This means that, you know, when it comes to race time, it's going to be very close packed racing, hopefully, and that's exactly the type of racing that we hope to see here in the stock car series. You know, we want everyone to be close to each other, being able to take the toe off of each other, exchanging leads all throughout. I mean, this is certainly shaping up to become a very, very exciting sporting class race later on today.
And I agree with you wholeheartedly here in terms of looking at the improvements across the board from all classes, from rookie to promotional to sporting and super sporting. We have seen average times actually being bested by a lot of our drivers, and we are starting to see a lot of our drivers as well starting to push the limits of their vehicles. May actually play around the fact that their understanding of the vehicle, as well as their combined experience of so much time spent on the track, may actually give them that little bit more, quite an advantage in terms of them being able to push that particular limit and score better times, because we have seen time and time again, I think in the previous few seasons, sporting classes averaged at about 127, 128. Now we're starting to see the timings getting up to 126 at least. Normally we would see it for maybe 1 or 2 drivers, but to see the first top half of the 7 drivers here, from Abdul Mikhail all the way down to position 7 Shafiq, all of them 126, and it's just a matter of hundreds of a seconds here, actually goes to show that Toyota Gazoo Racing has not only created a fun atmosphere, but also a conducive element to properly hone and sharpen that competitive will by all of our drivers.
That's the thing, because like year after year, we're seeing these times just continue to shrink and shrink, and so the competition is just getting more intense. So I wonder, like, are we going to be potentially seeing like multiple ties, you know, just like how in promotional class last year, Zizan, Razak, and Nabil Ahmad tied for overall champion, and 3 ladies basically tied for 2nd place overall. So, you know, we may even be seeing that kind of situation play out here this season because of how competitive these times are. And I love it. It just goes to show that, you know, there's a level of progression, consistent level of progression happening here in this racing series. And, you know, it's no surprise as well why this is still considered the prestigious, the premier stock car racing series here in Malaysia, because not only it has a big prize pool, but the level of competition is super, super intense.
Super intense indeed, and it seems that I mean, qualifying has always been rather uneventful in terms of I think maybe it's the fact that everyone is mostly competing against themselves and times, rather than actually competing against not only themselves but each other, on top of the fact that the congested, I mean, sporting classes is one of the more congested and densely packed circuits out there on the Sepang track, and I do feel that with that being said, the qualifying rounds is all about just getting that time in, and I think just getting familiar with what they need to do. And like we were observing beforehand, like how Zizan Razak was paying very close attention to Shukri Yahya, tailing him from behind during the start of the qualifying, up until he was able to make some adjustments. I think this is where some subterfuge could be put into play. some of them may actually be closely observing their close rivals here to understand a little bit more in terms of their racing line, in terms of what they're preparing for, or maybe the type of attacks that they would take in some of the chicanes that are available on this particular track.
Even Dagujan has mentioned before that he often uses like practice and qualifying sessions to kind of to actually suss out the competition, you know, to observe them, to see what they're doing and how it differs compared to what he's doing. And that's kind of like the thing you do at the elite level competition, right? You always keep tabs on the competition. You're always trying to stay one step ahead of them. And, you know, these kind of qualifying sessions are perfect for that because, you know, it's all out there. You know, you just have to watch and observe these drivers, see what they're doing in the lines, and see what you can do better compared to them. And I think most importantly for the drivers who are still out there trying to set the time is that they now will have a good idea of what to expect when it comes to the race. They already know what more or less their pace is like compared to the others. They can start to strategize a little bit, okay, how we want to handle the start of the race later on, what are going to be the goals they want to try to reach for the race finish itself. And all of that preparation work literally starts even before this qualifying session here. So it's all part of that process really for these drivers to be better in this competition. So, and especially for the newcomers into this one, like our driver here in car number 29, Alif Shauki, you know, it's going to be for them to see how well they can stack up against this competition here, because knowing that this is the most the prestige of being in this class here, you know, there's a lot of that you have to live up to, especially as a new competitor in this field.
And with being a new competitor on this field, there are certain things that may go over your head, maybe from a lack of understanding, maybe from a lack of experience, but looking at the guidance that have been given for all of the categories here, with the assistance of Takujan Lei, with the assistance of Alex Yo, I do believe that the knowledge that is given is definitely going to be priceless, and the implementation of that knowledge there is going to be the biggest differential for a lot of these drivers here. We have seen it being produced here by drivers such as Nabila Razali and Amirul Haikal, for example, from their movement from the rookie classes all the way to sporting classes, and looking at Tamimi Tahang here from Zakin Boulevard Motorsports here, putting in some best times here, but still not enough to penetrate the 126. But Nabila Razali here, 125.966, able to dethrone Abdul Mikhail, who has stayed stagnant at 126.129, and Bradley Benedict with 126.329. And I think that's a new personal best for Nabila Razali, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, again, only driver right now in the sporting class to break past 126, break into the 125s now. So that's a huge statement of intent here from Nabil, that maybe he wants to repeat exactly the kind of streak that his brother has done before, you know, dominate the rookie competition and then follow that by dominating the sporting class. I mean, that's a lot of things to be excited about, seeing the Aslan brothers at it again. But then again, when you talk about the other competitors here, longtime competitors like Dami Mitahang, you know, they really have been struggling to even get a good finish here. The best finish that Dami Mitahang has been able to do so far has been in Season 5, round number 2, where he got 3rd place, but he's never gotten a win yet in the sporting class. The best he had overall was 7th position, and that's in Season 5. So he will definitely want to see whether or not he can afford, whether he can still keep up with this new blood that's being injected into the sporting class here, because as of right now, he's still in 10th place. He's still sitting in 127.1, only a 10th behind Ken Fu, but, you know, with everyone who's new, everyone who's younger, just still being in the front line there, you know, there's a lot of things that he has to kind of work on before he can hope to break into the top 10.
And I think that with how both these drivers are actually working hand in hand, actually not working hand in hand, are able to pick up from one another. I think the biggest observation is that you are only as capable to learn from what your competition presents itself to. And we have seen time and time again that sporting classes may actually be one of the more underrated technical drivers out there, just behind super sporting class. And we have seen time and time again that sporting class in and of itself can be one of the more exciting displays of racing here. With 5 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock, any stray observations here before we talk a little bit more about some of the particular drivers?
It's quite interesting observing Abdul Mikhail's front bumper, because it looks like it's a little bit flared outwards on the sides, and I wonder, is that because he got a bit of a squish on the front there, or did they purposely widen the bumper a little bit for aerodynamic effects? It's going to be something interesting to see, but outside of that, really, like, I mean, again, level of competition is just constantly rising season after season, isn't it? I mean, it would be unthinkable, I think, a couple of years ago for some of these drivers to break into 125 here at the Sepang North Loop, but that's kind of happening with regularity in the super sporting class. Now sporting class, it seems like if you want to be dominant here, you have to be in the 125s already, like how Nabil Aslan is. So, man, I mean, it just goes to show that this is one of the toughest kind of competitions here in Malaysian stock car racing, and it really shows.
I think what's the most interesting fact is that everybody from position 1 to 7 were able to, at least with the anomaly being Nabil Aslan at 125, everybody has been able to score 126 in terms of timing here from position 2 up until position 7, starting with Abdul Mikhail and ending with Shafiq. Whereas from position 8 all the way to position 17, we are observing time stated at 127, with the only outlier here being Haziq Zairil O at 128. It's a margin of inches here. The differences is as thick as a single strand of hair, in my opinion. And with that being said, I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not anyone else on the sporting class will be able to traverse the 125 mark.
Yeah, I mean, it's also impressive to see that some drivers are literally separated by a single millisecond. Lau Sengkiat and Dato Ken Fu right now, 127.033 and 127.034 respectively. That's insane, the gaps between these drivers here. But you know, it's when the competition is this close, you know, it's a slight difference in where you turn in. If you break a little bit later or a little bit earlier, that all makes a big difference. So finesse is so important for stock car racing, not just on the ovals, but even here in the Sepang North Loop, you know. And the circuit is such that, you know, it's so wide that you have plenty of room to explore different lines. The lack of walls compared to street tracks means that there's more opportunity for you to push past the limits here on this track, just to see where you can extract some extra time. And extracting extra time is certainly Abdul Mikhail, because he's just at a 126.022, only 22 milliseconds from breaking into the 125. So he might be gunning right now to try to join Nabil Aslan in the front row.
All right, with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, any big changes we have seen is, I think, Abdul Mikhail with a 126.022 of a second here. Bradley Benedict, unfortunately, not being able to best his time here at 126.329. Mir Haikal still maintaining 126.366. And Kenneth Cole with 126.77, 771. I don't think that there's going to be much changes here with the time that we have left, but I have been proven wrong time and time again in the past, and I don't want to be counting my chickens before they hatch, so to speak.
Okay, so Sean is going to be able to move aside here to allow Abdul Mikhail to take the racing line. He's been taking the toe of a Sean from the exit of turn 8 all the way to the start of the breaking point of turn 1. So he's certainly trying to make a massive concerted effort right now to match Nabil Aslan's time, or maybe even surpass it. But with 1 minute and 30 seconds left, that's not a lot of margin for error here. Not a lot of room for Abdul Mikhail to make mistakes here. He has to perfectly nail it down, either this lap or the next one. May not even have enough time for the next lap, actually, to be honest. Nabil Aslan comes across the line. Is he going to be able to improve his time, though? I don't think so.
so, because we haven't seen any update there. And I think, yeah, on the timing board, he's still just below his own full time here. So let's see whether or not, with 1 minute to go, whether or not Nabil Aslan is going to be able to maintain provisional pole, or will Abdul Mikhail in the last gaps of the sporting class qualifying, is he going to be able to take the throne away from Nabil Aslan?
With that being said, Nabil Aslan rather comfortable in his positioning, but Abdul Mikhail not too far behind in terms of trying to close that distance. Could it be? I think it could just be it. Oh, I don't think so. 126.230.
It's still
not close.
It's still respectable timing. He's still fast on the rally, but still not quite in the 125s. He has still 2/10 off. There's still 20 seconds left, so there might be one more shot for him. But Nabil Aslan, he has been gunning for it right now. I don't think we're seeing the purple sector from him yet, but it's interesting to note as well that, you know, Abdul Mikhail actually hit 168 kilometers per hour on the speed trap here. So he's actually faster than most of everyone here on the track in terms of average speed, but still not able to beat Nabil Aslan's pole position setting time. Now the checker flag is coming out as Nabil Aslan rounds around the final quarter here to see whether or not he'll make an improvement off his time. Highly doubtful as he comes across. He still is in the 126.3, so he still remains in provisional pole. Hasn't quite improved, but with a time of 125.9, that's practically unbeatable right now in the sporting class.
And with that on the way, it seems that our sporting class official qualifying is over, and it is our final qualifying leg of today's round of our first qualifying of season 6, round number 1 for 2023. What a way to start the year, and what a way to observe overall improved performances across the board, Victor.
Like the day, you know, most of the guys here are going to be sitting 125s. You know that the competition has just reached an insane level here. I mean, it's already kind of insane that Nabil Aslan, coming from his rookie year, now in the sporting class, is dominating just like how his elder brother did. I mean, it's crazy the level of talent these kids have now these days. But that's already setting himself up for an explosive start to Season 6 here for the sporting class. Nabil Aslan is your pole sitter, and right now the driver from Axel Sports here is probably going to be the favorite coming into race number 1 here in the sporting class, so make sure you guys keep an eye out for this one driver. But looking at the rest of the field as well, there are no slouches with differences in the single tenths, you know, 1/10, 2/10, even milliseconds of difference between some of these lap times. I mean, it's going to be close pack racing, I expect, when we come to race number 1. I cannot wait to see what's going to happen later on.
And I think that with that being said, we do have one practice start on the starting grid as well as one full lap. So maybe there might be some changes here in terms of time. And excuse me, there isn't going to be any changes of time. We shall have to wait and see what is the official results here from the race marshals as well to tabulate all of those numbers. I'm really excited to see whether or not Nabil Aslan will continue a dominant streak here with the time that he has been able to set for himself. Remember, this is just the qualifying. Though, getting pole position may put you ahead and give you a rather tremendous advantage, it doesn't mean that you are closer to winning than everybody else is.
You know, thinking about it as well, given that Axel Sports is also dominating the super sporting class, you know, it just goes to show that just having extra knowledge of the Sepang North Loop just goes a long, long way. So, on that note there, Nabil Aslan from Axel Sports is your official qualifying pole position sitter for the sporting class, ahead of Abdul Mikhail in second place for 23 Motors. Bradley Benedict Anthony takes third overall right now for qualifying here. For Crestmax Motorsports, Amil Haikal in 4th right now for Super Evergreen Motorsport. Kenneth Kaur takes 5th place there for Panglima City Racing Team. Danny Ng for HLT Group takes 6th place, ahead of Shafiq Samsudin for Race Rally KL in 7th place. Lau Seng Kiat is for 8th place there for Saksama Motorsports, ahead of Dato Ken Fu from Kulim Top Wheel, and Tarmimi Tahang takes the 10th spot there for Zakim Boulevard Motorsports. Looking at the next page here, Aaron Haikal from Instinctive Model takes 11th spot ahead of Dato Denny Yip for Popular Car Racing Team in 12th place. Mong Ching Ik takes 13th place with a Haiwan Racing Team ahead of Kenneth Tay from Team Focus Tup in 14th place. Muhammad Alif Shauki from Toyota Wheelstar Motorsport takes 15 ahead of Shan Muganathan in the Kanashvila Motorsport Racing Team. Amir Mirza Hussein, the second Race Rally KL car, takes 17th place ahead of Hazik Zariel O from the 20 Racing Team.
And let's take a look at the highlights. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a wonderful start. Our final highlights of our official qualifying series, of our official qualifying leg, and the final category is the sporting class. Rather uneventful in terms of what happened on the track, but in terms of times, for those of you who are big fans of numbers, times, as well as tabulation, statistics of scores here, Nabila Razali, definitely the only standout here to be hitting 125, whereas the majority of everybody is 126. I think the average time across the board here is about 127 points. 169 actually, and that's not too bad looking at how sporting class has been actually performing across the board here. The majority of which drivers are going to be enjoying the 127 mark. We do see some outliers at 126. Hazik Zairil definitely could have done a lot better here, 128, but not for the lack of effort.
Yeah, again, it was kind of exciting towards the end as well, seeing Abdul Mikhail, jostling with Nabil Aslan, but he unfortunately still isn't able to break into the 125s, only 22 milliseconds short in his fastest lap, but certainly he is going to be starting on the front row alongside Nabil Aslan here, so that's going to be a start that he will be certainly looking to try to nail down perfectly when it comes to race number 1. So Nabil Aslan, pole position here for sporting class. What a debut for this young driver here, fresh off of his overall champion in the rookie class. Now he's going to try his best here to dominate yet again for the sporting class.
And we're back here in the studio. It has been a very wonderful day thus far. The weather has been shiny. I do hope that I don't curse it out that way. And we do hope that it's sunny skies all the way. It is partially cloudy, and it seems that the track temperature is starting to rise just as the heat of...
Yes, berkumandang suara Nabila Razali di Sepang International Circuit. Nabila, oh Nabila, oh di mana Nabila Razali untuk musim ke-6 ini? Nabila, where are you?
Mana?
You are right here. Tapi macam saya katakan, TGR family ni, sekali kita family, always family. Betul tak?
Betul.
Jadi,
cuma lain sikit lah kita punya tujuan hari ni.
Itulah
kalau
dia.
tak time ni, kita orang dah suit up dah.
Awak pun pakai in white and red begitu kan.
Hari
Tapi
ni
hari
memang
ni
datang.
red saja begitu.
Betul. Hari ni kita nak entertain semua yang ada di sini dan juga yang berada di rumah. Hai semua, apa khabar?
Lambai sikit Nabila Razali veteran racer kita kat sini. Jadi saya bertanya kepada rakan-rakan yang lain, Nabila mana? Nabila mana? Dia pun kata, tak tahulah, dia pun tak ada this year. Kenapa tak ada this year?
Tak, sebab last round I dapat nombor 1 kan. So
Cik
kalau
lah.
I datang balik, I takut semua nanti aduh pening Nabila ada lah tiba.
Ini dia dah kena penyakit Ziza Razak. Tersedak-sedak dia kat sana tu. So, do we expect a comeback from Nabila Razali?
I don't know.
Cewa.
Tapi it's been a wonderful 4 years with Toyota Gazoo Racing Malaysia and banyak kenangan. Semuanya manis-manis belaka and Bella percaya semua orang yang menonton di rumah ataupun semua audience yang datang setiap season tu korang tahu betapa bestnya kan event ni dapat kumpul korang ramai-ramai and bukan sahaja berhibur tapi dapat tengok juga selebriti lain juga racing dan juga professional racers berlumba. So Bella just nak say thank you so much to Toyota for having me again untuk entertain korang semua and hopefully kan hopefully tidak berakhir di sinilah, insyaAllah ada lagi.
Macam inilah, what was your best experience sepanjang 4 tahun bersama Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival?
I think to be in a Toyota car tu pun dah satu amazing experience for me dah. You know, because I'm a Toyota user myself. So dapat pula masuk dalam Toyota Vios terbaru setiap season dapat rasa I get to rasa yang terbaru kan and bagi share experience tu dengan orang luar. So benda tu satu privilege lah. So Bella sebenarnya banyaklah kalau kita nak cerita pasal pengalaman memang banyak selain daripada racing, you know, and then
buat kawan baru, fans baru kan. Tapi Nabila kata exciting season 4, season 5, season 6 ni pun exciting tapi saya rasa season 6 ni kurang exciting. Kenapa? Kurang exciting. Sebab Nabila Razali tak ada.
Kita ada, kita perform ni. Ada lagu lagi.
Jangan. Oh ya, minta tisu lap mata dia sikit. Ladies and gentlemen, satu lagu yang terakhir Nabila Razali, naskah beliau buat anda semua yang merindui Nabila Razali di Sepang International Circuit. Nabila, take it away.
Thank you, Banas. Bella harap lagu yang seterusnya ni korang nyanyi sama-sama dengan Bella, boleh? Kuat sikit. Alright, terimalah peluang kedua. Sepi menghukum diri kembali untuk mengalirkan air mata tanpa henti lagi. Sepi menghasut diri kembali untuk memikirkan tentang kita tanpa henti lagi dan tiada salah darimu mengingatkanku bila ku tak sempurna. Engkau bisikanku yang paling sempurna di matamu. Hanya aku maaf andai kau terluka. Maaf ku tak sengaja tanpa sedar sakitimu. Sesal aku, maaf kena ku pun terluka. Pintaku hanya peluang kedua rasa cinta darimu.
Dan tiada salah darimu mengingatkanku bila ku tak sempurna. Engkau bisikanku yang paling sempurna di matamu. Hanya aku dengan tak terbuka hatimu. Ku di sini menunggu dan terus menunggu dirimu. Kembalilah sayang kepadaku. Siapa yang pandai rap kat sini? Come on, let's go.
Maaf aku terluka, hilang kata bermakna, hilang di depan mata, hilang begitu saja. Bintang sudah kuukir, janji sudah kemungkir. Walau di dalam luka, kau ajar ku berjuang. Sayang takkan terbuang, adakah ini peluang? Maaf rindu dalam halaman hati bila kau hilang. Tak lagi akan terang cahaya sinar bintang.
Semua, let's go. Maaf, andai kau terluka. Maaf ku tak sengaja tanpa sedar. Sakitimu, sesaku. Maaf, kena ku pun terluka. Pintaku hanya peluang kedua. Rasa cinta Terima kasih semua. Terima kasih TGR. Thank you Toyota.
Itu dia lagu yang berhantu peluang kedua. Saya ingat, korang semua ingat MKK Click ada sini tadi kan? Rupanya saya kat belakang sana.
Adalah seorang tu kat tengah.
Oh,
dia
ada
macam
ke?
MK dah tu.
Oh, itulah dia. Cik sempat. Senyum abang kita kat sana. Itulah dia persembahan istimewa Nabila Razali. Ladies and gentlemen, terima kasih.
Thank you Abang Nas.
Terima kasih, silakan. Tapi terus bersama kita, okey? Kita yang rindu-rindu Nabila, kita nak cicet-cicet, nak tanya khabar berita dan sebagainya. Itulah dia persembahan istimewa kita. And after this, we're going to take a quick break. Jadi kepada anda di luar sana, bolehlah kita pergi makan tengah hari, kita solat Zuhur dan sebagainya. And we'll be back sharp 2 PM. Kepada anda yang baru saja berjinak-jinak dengan Toyota Gazoo Racing Festival, silalah ke laman web rasmi Toyota dan juga laman web rasmi Toyota Gazoo Racing juga. Mana dah tahu ada produk-produk ataupun merchandise yang menarik hati anda semua. Silakan. Sekali lagi saya Nazrudin Rahman melaporkan diri. Kita berundur seketika dan kita kembali. This is Season 6, Round 1. This is Race Day 1. Tepat 2:30 petang nanti. It's time to go racing. Assalamualaikum. Terima kasih sekali lagi. And we'll see you sharp 2:30 petang nanti.
Just what on earth is Gazoo Racing? Gazoo Racing is a spirit. The spirit of pushing one's limits. It's more than just a badge, a symbol, or a poster on the wall. Gazoo Racing is Kaizen of competitiveness. It's the rubber hitting the road again and again and again. Fine-tuned on the world's most demanding racetracks. Powered not just by all forms of energy, but also by our passion. To accelerate, exhilarate, elevate. The Toyota mandate of making ever better cars. Moving not just people, but the human spirit forward. This is our spirit. This is Gazoo Racing.
Toyota. Move your world.
Toyota tires.
Ready, team. We have 5 and counting. If we don't make it, everything goes boom.
Package on the move.
Release the beast.
ETA 1 Mike. Standing by. Ready to receive. Package acquired. Inbound. 1 click.
Watch out!
That was a close call.
3 minutes target. Let's burn! Beyond you in 5. It's going to be too close.
It's not over yet.
Clock's ticking. Punching.
Package received.
Whoa, this thing's fast.
Target in sight. The beasts are here. 5, 4.
Now! Nice work, guys.
I'm gonna need some new tires.
Passion fuels actions, honing skills to precision, fine-tuning even the smallest details to push the limits of their performance in the pursuit of perfection. Toyota Tour, where champions swing into action. Toyota, move your world.
一言で言いますと、家族的でプロフェッショナルなチーム。モータースポーツを起点にしたね、もっといい車作りで、プロフェッショナルといわば私のような一般ドライバーが一緒になってですね、モータースポーツを起点にしたいい車作りをやるチームと思っていただければいいです。発表と同時に、こういうモータースポーツの場で、車を鍛えるというのがこのルーキーレーシング GR ヤリスの まあ、ミッションだったと思います。で壊して限界を知りそこを強くしてそしてまた新たなネックが出てきた時にそれをまた強くしようと水素エンジンを登場させやはり環境に優しいモータースポーツのやり方は一体何かというのを提案したいと思います。今回の水素エンジンは初めからモータースポーツのど真ん中の中に入れ込んで開発をやっていく、電気自動車のレースというのもいいんですけれども我々自動車業界550万人の人たちが長年培ってきたこのエンジンというものも活用しながらモータースポーツが持続的かつプラクティカルにつながるような一つの提案が24時間を皮切りにルーキーレーシングとトヨタ自動車が皆さんにご提供できていくんじゃないのかなと思います。
水素エンジンというのはガソリンに代わって水素をタンクに溜めてそれを燃料にしてガソリンのエンジンのようにエンジンでそれを燃やしてエネルギーを取り出して走っていくと。
トヨタは水素といえば FCEV 未来を出してますから水素でもう車って走ってるじゃんって思う人も多いと思うんです。
未来はですね同じように水素を燃料エネルギーにしてるんですけど水素を使って発電してるんですね。だからエンジンは実はないんですよ。でも今回の車はエンジンがあって燃料が水素になってるだけなんですね。今まであったエンジンをそのまんま使いながら燃料をカーボンニュートラルなものに変えられるということはガソリン車を最初に出しておいて後々置き換えていくってことだってできるようになるかもしれない。だから車の作り方が変わっていくと思ってるんですよ。そういう未来の扉を今開けようとしてる感じです。
水素ってこうエコーっていうイメージがやっぱあるんで見せた方がいいかもしれない。カーボンニュートラルにおける挑戦の旅が始まりました。このカーボンニュートラル時代において一つの選択肢に絞るわけではなくいろんな今まで培ってきた技術をベースにした内燃機関をもカーボンニュートラルに生き残りかつ発展させる方法があるんではないかと。敵は炭素であり内燃機関ではない。こうした意志ある情熱と行動により10年後20年後の未来の姿が変わってくると思います。一戦一戦積み重ねることによってこうして仲間が増えていること。カーボンニュートラルは共感で動くべき。いろんな方々がいろんな思いを持ってここに賛同してくれてます。水素エンジンにおける2年目の挑戦、昨年よりも距離を伸ばしました。余分に走った分だけ我々水素社会の未来に我々の情熱と行動で近づいたってことです。ワンチームジャンプ。If we move this kind of activities, if we continue this kind of activities, all the people feel the same feelings, then everybody come to the one team, then we can make our future together.